with a championship.
If you're going to war and I'm coaching, I'm taking these guys.
Baylor, kings of college basketball, #1 in the land, and the trophy is coming to Waco.
Baylor, one of the great turnarounds in college athletics history, national champions in year 18 for Scott Drew.
Our fans that have been with us for the lean years, the good years, and our administration, President Livingstone, Mac Rhodes, they all deserve this. The city of Waco deserves this. Hey, Texas, we got a national championship too. The state deserves it.
Did I stutter?
He has time, launches it to the end zone. Touchdown! Terrence Williams!
But they are who we thought they were, and we let them off the hook.
The 2011 winner of the Heisman Trophy is Robert Griffin III, RG3!
Welcome to Up Tempo on SicEm365 Radio.
Langoliers, base hit to center, and the Baylor Bears win their first Big 12 tournament championship.
Their fat little girlfriends are telling them what they want to hear, which is how great you are.
I'm a man. I'm 40.
Call us on the Impact Health Labs caller line at 254-339-1122.
Hello? You play to win the game.
Yep, just ready for OU.
You can't handle the truth.
Here's Drake Toll.
And welcome into Up Tempo. I'm J.D. PicKell alongside Andrew Robertson, Jack McKenzie. Drake Toll is joining us via the phone. He's going to get in here. Listen, we're a rock and roll kind of show, all right? We roll with the punches. We just adapt, improvise, overcome. That's what we're doing right now. As we had some outages yesterday, we're back today. Listen, we got a jam-packed show for you. Thank you so much for joining us. It's going to be a really, really good day. Getting the phone lines up and cranking here in just a few minutes. 254-339-1122. Got Rose Garrett joining us, the crying Sam Houston State fan. He's coming on at 11:30. Luke Boyd of Baylor Baseball at 12:05. And the GOAT, Michael Woodson. You missed him yesterday. He's coming on today to talk about Baylor tennis at 1 o'clock. We got some good stuff for you the rest of the way. Starting off, I don't know if anybody saw, Baylor football got an enormous transfer yesterday. Jacob Gall from Buffalo. Now, I wasn't for the transfer until I saw where he came from and what they ran at Buffalo. They're going to be running the wide zone, which is what Baylor is going to run this upcoming season. Now, I was against the transfer originally against Baylor going to the portal to get a lineman because it felt like, why would you bring somebody in after your most important 15 practices of the season have passed? And now, seeing that he comes from a program that already ran the scheme, he's not only will he not be behind, he's going to be probably a step or two ahead of most of the guys that are on campus. So I love this move. I think it's a great get for Baylor. Obviously, Buffalo ran the football extremely well a season ago, 287 yards on the ground. Hey, Rob, that's pretty good, bro.
That is pretty
287 yards on the ground. That's not too shabby. What do you think about this transfer?
Yeah, I saw this transfer yesterday, and I mean, this. It seems like this recruiting staff is prioritizing getting offensive linemen. Everyone that I see, we've got an offensive lineman at 6'6", 6'5", always above like 300 pounds. They're really going after the big boys, and I think it's good that the offensive line gets some experience from a running system that has worked. I remember looking last year into Buffalo, and they had like a game where I believe someone rushed for over 600 yards. Correct me if I'm wrong. Maybe it was
Jared Patterson.
Right.
Yeah.
So bringing something like that, the experience, could really benefit the Baylor offensive line because they're obviously trying to replicate that same run game.
Yeah, it's gonna be a lot of fun. I'm excited for this. Drake, are you on the phone with us, big dog?
Guys, can you hear me okay?
Dude, we got you loud and clear. We got you loud and clear.
Baby. Hey, I love it. Hey, JD, thanks for kicking off the show today. Big day across not just college sports, but in Baylor athletics as well. Like you already said, Jacob Gall coming to Baylor. I mean, that's probably the news that is news today. You get a guy like that who is rated as the top offensive guard, left guard in the country per Football Performance, I believe. You know, Grayson Grundaver is going to come on the show today and talk to us about it. He's going to be do a big segment with Grayson. But I mean, we talked about it. Going into the transfer portal, bolstering the offensive line was going to be huge. And now that Baylor has done that with a guy with the experience of Gall, I mean, this team went from bad. I will say bad on the offensive line to now okay. This doesn't make Baylor's offensive line elite. This doesn't anchor Baylor's offensive line to run to 250, 300 yards per game. But it's not just a start. It's more than a start. It is now enabling that middle offensive line, the middle part at least, to be really good with Grant Miller and Jacob Gall. The jury's still out for me. I think they still need to get one more Jacob Gall-esque guy, but Baylor football got better, and that's what's key to me.
I think you hit it right on the head. The fact that Baylor football now has an interior offensive line that can effectively move in the trenches, that is huge, because we saw so many times a season ago, Drake, Baylor lining up in 3rd and 7, 3rd and 9, 3rd and 12. Like, there was so many times where they were effectively behind the sticks. And so now, having two guys that have played a lot of football, 60 games between the two of them. I think Jacob Gall only had 13 starts at Buffalo, but definitely made the most of them. A lot of experience on that offensive line is going to be crucial, and they now effectively have that. So the fact that Baylor can now get 3 yards on first down, 3 yards on second down, and be able to stay in front of the sticks, that's going to make all the difference, because when you have 3rd and 4, 3rd and 3, like 3rd and manageable, you are so much more diverse offensively. You have the whole playbook at your disposal. So now you can go inside zone if you want. Now you can go quick game. Now you can take a shot. Like, there is so much more that you can do, whereas before, 3rd and 7, 3rd and 9, you're pretty much limited to only pass plays. You can run a draw if you're feeling cheeky and you want to get a little bit sneaky there, but when we saw Baylor do that with a reverse pass a time or two,
right,
we've seen that. But now Baylor's going to have the luxury of lining up in 3rd and 4, 3rd and 2, 3rd and manageable more or less, and be able to have some plays that they can work out. Like, they have much more options, and that's going to be huge. So I love this pickup. I love that he's been in this system, because otherwise there would have been a lot more issues, I think, if you bring in a guy who hasn't played in the system before, a guy who would be 15 practices behind trying to pick up a new scheme. Because I did that. I came to Baylor as a grad transfer, and learning that playbook was substantially harder than I thought it was going to be, because all of your teammates have a playbook they've known since spring. Like, you install in the spring. Fall isn't a time to learn. Fall is a time to get better, sharpen the sword. You're not trying to build the sword in the fall.
Right, yeah.
So that was my biggest takeaway from this. That's what makes it a perfect fit. I'm hearing they still, like Drake said, they still could be in the transfer portal to try and get another guy like Jacob Gall. Again, I'm still in the camp of, if he doesn't have wide zone experience,
right,
I'm more averse to that. What do you think, Andrew?
Well, that was kind of my thing that I was concerned about. You obviously have great insight on that, but like, it seems very late into the transfer portal to be recruiting guys. I mean, we're already May 20th. I don't know how. You have obviously way more experience than I could ever imagine with football, actually playing it.
You're hyping me up.
Have experience. But it seems really late in the transfer process to be getting guys, that, especially offensive linemen, who really need to know the offense well for run plays, for pass protection. But if you're telling me that this guy already knows our scheme, it's actually going to bring experience rather than have to catch up, then I think it's a great move.
That's a great way to say it. I think he's going to bring experience instead of having to catch up. Drake, are you on the air right now with us, boss?
Yeah, guys, like you said, I think he's going to be a fine fit. It's going to be a lot easier to bring him in and put him in that fit than it would be compared to other guys out there in the transfer portal. It's going to behoove Baylor to have him on the offensive line. Outside of that, I did want to lead the show today by also talking about new basketball coach on the Lady Bears side. Women's basketball coach Michael Mata, the assistant AD for operations, has been hired away from us. So I've been looking at his Twitter. There's not a lot of stuff out there about Michael Mata, but what I have seen, what I can find, is a big WNBA guy, covered the WNBA for a while, or at least as a fan, and it looks like he comes from Dartmouth, if I'm seeing this correctly, Dartmouth. So Michael Mata, welcome to the Baylor family as an assistant coach with the Baylor Lady Bears. And then the men's golf team. Guys, one stroke away yesterday for Baylor men's golf. They're right there on the cusp of being able to punch their ticket to the NCAA championships. They're in the final round. It's hole 18. They've got to lead. University of Arkansas at Little Rock, their team is taking their shot at hole 18. Every member on the Trojan team birdied the 18th hole to send Arkansas Little Rock to the NCAA championships. A huge upset, and Baylor golf ended their season yesterday with a really tough loss in Stillwater. I don't know if I've ever heard of anything like that, where the entire team birdies the 18th hole to send their squad to the NCAA championships.
Holy cow. Every single guy birdied. Now, again, Andrew Robertson and I, we know a lot about college sports, college golf.
I'm a golf guy.
Yeah,
absolutely.
We're privy to that.
Tiger Woods.
Just so the other people
Phil Mickelson. Know. Is it like a round robin type thing, or is it more?
I mean, how many birdies is that?
Yeah, 4 birdies, 6 birdies. What are we talking here?
Yeah, the way I understand it, it'd be 5. 5, that's my understanding of collegiate golf. I'm also, in my endless knowledge of collegiate golf that you're also highlighting here, yeah, I believe it's 5 birdies, meaning the last guy on the team that took a step up and had to make a birdie to be able to win the match, because, again, it was a one-stroke win. It was they shot 15 over, Baylor shot 16 over. I mean, you know that guy, the onions, when he had to birdie and he hit that putt, place must have lost it.
I know. I wish we had video. I would love to see the place just go bananas, because golf is like very proper. There's unwritten rules. If my boy hits a birdie to send us to the NCAA tournament, I'm losing my mind.
Right, there's
like,
going to be tens of people
I'm
celebrating.
throwing clubs. Like, it better be anarchy out there.
You would have to hope so as a sports fan yourself. Like, if I'm hitting that putt, I want everyone on the team to charge me.
Oh, yeah.
Water coolers, I want the treatment.
That's what why is there not more water cooler treatment in golf? There needs to be. That's what we need to be talking about here. I don't know why the sports world isn't talking about that.
Got to push that agenda.
Again, 254-339-1122. Call us. We want to hear your takes on all things Baylor transfer portal. We want to hear your takes about Baylor golf and if there should be coolers that are being dumped on other players when they hit a game-winning birdie.
There should.
Andrew Robertson and I are both firmly in the camp of yes. Drake, what say you?
Give me minus 500 on water cooler golf.
Really? You're not for water cooler golf?
No, minus 500.
Oh, minus 500. Okay,
heavy favorite on water cooler and golf.
I need all the help that I can get, man.
I love it. Outside of that, in Baylor sports this week, so you got Baylor baseball this weekend against Oklahoma. That series kicks off tomorrow. Steve Rodriguez is going to join the show tomorrow as well. Still working through some video issues on our end with the old Skype that's not treating us too nicely today. I'm coming to you live from for sake of better Wi-Fi, coming in live from Valonia, Arkansas. So I'm not just Valonia, Arkansas, but right here from Valonia High School itself. So doing some remote shows from the old stomping grounds, and I love the little graphic right there that Jack got put up of my face. That was in the winter. That was before I got my tan on. But outside of that, this weekend you got Baylor baseball starting Thursday again. Steve Rod joins the show tomorrow. Baylor softball is in Florida for the Gainesville Regional. And then you got men's tennis. Guys, I mean, I'd be remiss if we didn't talk about it. Michael Woodson will join the show today, but Baylor men's tennis they're taking on TCU for what I would say is like the 7th or 8th time this season. Teams get tired of practicing against each other, right? Like that, you want to see live action. You've got the football players, the football team, the ones are going against the ones. I mean, you just want to see a guy in a different jersey. And at this point, TCU is just a practice squad for Baylor. I mean, they've played them so many times that they know them so well that they kind of rolling with the punches through there. So got to face them again on Thursday. I think it's a 1 o'clock start time, if I remember correctly. Michael Woodson will break that down for us today. But, hey, I mean, Elite Eight for tennis. Everybody's good right now at Baylor.
And the fact that it's TCU, like that cannot be overstated. The fact that it's TCU, Absolutely. Baylor. Michael Woodson was quoted in an interview and he said, all you got to say is TCU and our guys are fired up. Like you don't need much more than Texas Christian to get ready to go. He's like,
Christian. And
also the verbiage he used when we talked about their previous match against, I think it was Ole Miss. He's like, we came out there and we punched them in the mouth. That's what we wanted to do.
Love that.
You punch people in the mouth in tennis? That. I thought that was just a basketball football thing.
Everyone's got a plan until you get punched in the mouth.
Mike Tyson. You probably said everyone's got a plan until you get punched in the mouth. We got a call coming in here. It looks like G-Dub probably talking a little bit of Baylor football or has some Bear Games questions for us. G-Dub always bringing the heat. G-Dub, you are on the air with yours truly and Drake Toll. What's going on, boss?
Hey, guys, missed y'all.
We missed you.
Tuesday. All right, so did y'all see the Bear Games question I had for y'all last night?
I saw. I think it was top 5 linebackers, if I'm not mistaken. Is that right?
Top 5 linebackers that y'all have seen, but so y'all can't include Mike Singletary.
Interesting. Top 5 linebackers. And this is at Baylor, I'm assuming, correct?
Yes.
Golly. Okay, I'm going to go. Clay Johnson's going to be 1. I'm going to go Bryce Hager, Eddie Lackey. I'm sure I'm missing somebody. Bryce Hager, Eddie Lackey. Is Jalen Petrie a linebacker? Can we call him a linebacker? He's like a star position.
I'm going to go no on. But I think you do have to go. I think you have to go Terrell Bernard. Terrell Bernard's got to be in there, right?
Got Terrell Bernard. Yeah, I'll go Bernard. I'll go, gosh, we at 4. Go ahead and throw in, I'm sure I'm missing somebody. Let's go ahead and throw in Taylor Young, who's now on staff at Baylor. I think he's a QC guy.
Yeah, I honestly, out of that list, I don't know that I'd change anything. I mean, especially because I've got the recency bias going on. But Baylor's been the peak of Baylor football to me, and I don't think anybody would argue, consistency-wise, especially is the last 10 years. So I don't think you would be too remiss if you're looking since Singletary to pick a unit from the last 10 years. Because while there were some defenses at Baylor that struggled, overall, you're looking at a pretty good linebacker core if you look at the last decade of guys, that fraternity of guys.
Because here's mine. I've got Joe Pollock, 2012. Joe Pollock, he was a senior when Robert Griffin was a freshman. And so y'all know those defenses weren't very good. And in his career at Baylor, he had over 400 tackles, 2-time All-American. So I'll go him at number 5. And you're going to be surprised about the rest of this list. Trevon Blanchard. Number 4. Then I'd go with Bryce Hager, Eddie Lackey, and then Taylor Young. I can't put. Here's the thing. I can't put Clay Johnson on this list. Because if he stays healthy, yes, he's on this list. But since he got hurt, sub Eddie Lackey with Terrell Bernard. And then reason is I don't have Clay Johnson on the list is because if he stays healthy, we don't get to see Terrell Bernard in his coming out party.
That's a good point. He subbed in an Oklahoma State game. It was like, hey, who's going to be playing linebacker? Terrell Bernard hasn't seen a lot of time, and then he just balled out in a big way, single digit this year. Also, I'll go ahead and correct myself, as Jack McKenzie articulately stated. Taylor Young is now with UNT. He was with Baylor. He's now at UNT, but was definitely at Baylor. It was definitely a baller during his time here in a uniform.
I got G-Dub. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah.
All right. I got a Bear Games question for today, G-Dub, and that is, if you could go on vacation with one Baylor athletic program, so one of the teams, any of the teams, which team would you go with, and where are you taking them on vacation?
I'd go with the baseball team, and we're going to Cancun.
Oh my goodness, Cancun with a baseball team, going to Mexico action right there, G-Dub, getting a little exotic.
Yes, sir.
I like that. Drake, where are you going?
Oh, man, putting me on the spot here. I do want to say thanks for your call, G-Dub. Always good to hear from you. Glad to have you on the show today. I'm probably, man, you're gonna have to let me think about that one. I'm probably taking Apu Ika and the Baylor football team, which we'll talk to Grayson Grundhafer about here at 12:30. I'm probably taking those guys. Oh, man, the football team, the Big Nasties. I don't know if I want to go to the beach with the Big Nasties, but
wait, why not? Well, yeah, let them chill out.
It's just a lot of folks on the beach. It's just a lot of people. You don't want a crowded beach. You want to have time on the beach, just relax and be you. Be you at BU.
I could see that.
I don't know.
I want to make sure we weren't body shaming the big homies. Because
Absolutely.
You take the shirts off at the beach, and there's a lot of
there's a
lot of mass around there. But that more mass, the better.
But I mean, it's good mass.
Good mass. All good mass.
You need mass.
There's a lot going on. There is a lot going on here. I on that point though, I think Baylor linebacking core the last 10 years or so has been elite in comparison to before that. You can date back to Singletary, but I like that question from G-Dub. Talking current football though, and where Baylor is right now, we've mentioned the transfers. You got Jacob Gall that comes in from Buffalo, and maybe a couple of the we talked about how maybe a couple of these rankings or these, I don't even know what we call them, these outlets that have him as the best guard in the country, maybe a bit off base, but
whoa.
just the
That's
fact
our
that
guy.
he's in that. Yeah, but the fact that he's in that conversation is huge. And yeah, he's our guy, but is he the best offensive guard in the country? Guys,
we'll see. We'll see.
He's not the best offensive left. He's not the best guard in the country, but I think that shows still, if you're in that conversation for anybody's outlet, that you're elite, that you're really good at what you do. My question would be, who's better than Jacob Gall or Grant Miller? I mean, who's going to anchor this line more if you're looking for that guy that steps up and is the guy on the O-line, a la Tecklenburg, who was the face of Baylor's offensive line? Which one of those dudes is it going to be?
Well, first I want to say Pro Football Focus is definitely reputable and a 90 grade. So maybe I do understand like the conversation. He could have an inflated rating because he had Jarrett Patterson running behind him. So that's definitely fair. And we'll see because it's a different – I mean, the MAC to the Big 12 is probably going to be a little bit of a competition change. But to get to your point, I just wanted to riff on that for a second. To get to your point and to get to your question, I got to go with Gall, man. Just flipping on the tape, he's a guy that I think plays more physical. I think he's done more in his time at Buffalo. Again, Grant Miller doing it at Vanderbilt, so he's doing it against guys in the SEC, which is a very different sample size. So what I see on tape, I like Gall better personally. I think they'll both anchor the interior of the line, whether it's guard and center, whether it's center and guard, who knows? Because Gall came on here yesterday and said, hey, I'm a center. I've been a center my whole life. Just so happened I played guard at Buffalo because of injuries, and I kind of stuck there. But whether it's Miller at center or Gall at center, I don't know that it really matters. I think Gall's kind of my horse that I'm riding, though, in terms of being maybe the lead dog, maybe kind of being that alpha dog. So, I mean, we'll see. I think it says something you went and got an interior offensive lineman when Grant Miller transferred in and had the whole spring. I think you're probably rebuilding as a whole on that line anyway, but that's kind of where I stand. What do y'all think about that?
I mean, I'm glad that we don't have to choose because we have two guys that we know are good at the offensive line, which is two more than we were 100% sure we had last year. Watching this line last year was a little bit painful, and I think Charlie Brewer got a lot of unneeded hate from the line not being where they needed to be.
Oh, for sure.
Because I mean, it falls on the quarterback, but the line was probably at least 50% responsible. I'm just excited. I think Jacob Gall, coming from that explosive running offense that was Buffalo last year, I mean, I'm not a Buffalo fan, but I saw Buffalo on ESPN a lot because of the offensive line helping that running game. So, I mean, he's obviously contributed to some success there. I just hope he can replicate it at Baylor.
Oh, I'm with you. 287 yards on the ground. That's a lot.
That's a lot of yards.
It's a lot. What are your thoughts, Drizzy?
No, I think if you...
Oh, no.
Audio?
Yeah, we got you. You're good. We got you.
Level, if you're leading an offense... If you're leading offense like that says something. So I think you're welcoming him into a core that needs better interior offensive line. And I still think there's a tackle out there to be desired for this Baylor team, but he's gonna anchor a unit on the inside of the guard spot, I believe. I don't think they're gonna move him to center. I think they'll stick with Grant Miller there at center. But hey, it answers a little bit more of the question. Of what is Baylor's offensive line going to look like next year. It sounds like we got old Steven chime in.
Yeah, we got Big Steve from Virginia about to contribute to the conversation a little bit. Steve, you're on the air, boss man. What's going on?
Hey, guys. I'm really excited to talk about some offensive line today because that's going to be the difference in this team, and I think we've all seen it. I'm kind of with JD. I'm not sure, JD, if you played your segment on the air today or not. I'm just kind of like I had some stuff to do and just got on, but without giving away any of JD's trade secrets, I would certainly say that I'm kind of a person who believes in continuity and, development, and it's hard to do that in less than 4 years. But at the same time, right now, I think the players that have come are not maybe to the point that we need them to be, and we have to look elsewhere. And so I really think that the Buffalo offensive grad transfer is a great get, and that's a really big deal. If they could find another tackle, does that elevate the ceiling? Because last year around this time, or maybe a little later in the summer, we got Jake Burton, and Jake Burton is obviously still a good enough player to be signed to an NFL camp, and I assume he will play in the league for a little bit. And he could not improve the offensive line all by himself. So I'm not a big fan of just taking one grad transfer if you're going to take grad transfers. Got to get as many as you can. They've already got the Vanderbilt center as well, so rebuilding this line with some veteran age and experienced guys that have played in that wide zone system. I really think that's the most important thing for Baylor right now.
Yeah, I mean, I'm definitely in the camp of let's take another offensive lineman if he's going to be a fit. I think the concern for me is how much do you get distracted by the glitter versus what's actually gold. Like, it's appealing to say, hey, we're going to go take an offensive lineman. It'll probably be an upgrade talent-wise, but if Buddy doesn't know who to block, then he's not going to be able to do anything on the field. And I think we saw that a couple times last year with Jake Burton. Tremendous talent. He's on an NFL roster. He'll be in an NFL camp this coming spring, or this coming summer, I suppose, but the fact that we weren't able to get it blocked up, and that was across the line, but the fact that we weren't able to get it blocked up with a guy of his stature, I think says something with the fact that he wasn't able to get up to speed. And granted, it was a COVID year, so maybe that's a little bit different, but the sentiment remains the same of you have to have some continuity among your offensive line. What do you think, Drake?
I didn't agree with the argument on the front end. I didn't agree that Baylor needed to stay away from the transfer portal. I thought they needed to go out there and get a guy, whether he was the caliber of Jacob Gall or not, but somebody they could develop hopefully in year one within 6 games to be a staple on the offensive line. But then they went and said, I'll do you one better. We'll get Jacob Gall. We'll get a guy of this caliber. And I think Baylor did right. Baylor probably did the best thing they could do transfer portal-wise by grabbing Jacob Gall.
Could not agree more. Hey, Steven, we got to hit a break here really quick, but Bear Games question from Drizzy for you.
Hey, Steven, you got one Baylor athletics team. You're taking them on vacation. Which team and where are you taking them?
That's easy. I'm taking this year's men's championship team, and we're going to somewhere tropical with enough laws to be safe, but not enough that we can do whatever we want and just celebrate for a whole week.
I love it. Steven, go ahead and hit him with the tagline, baby.
Later, guys.
Steven, appreciate you calling in. Up next, do not go anywhere, because if you watched college football this past Sunday, you saw the FCS Natty and saw Garrett Rose showing his passion for his school, Sam Houston State, as they captured a national title. All that coming up after the break. Going to sit down and talk with him. Do not go anywhere, because this, of course, is Up-Tempo.
Elite 8 looks good on you, Baylor men's tennis. Michael Woodson and his number 1 boys are moving on with a rather decisive 4-1 victory over number 14 Ole Miss in the Sweet 16 on Monday. The green and gold dominated the doubles point with a combined score of 17-6 on all courts when doubles play ended. Baylor then battled out 3 matches in the singles, with Charlie Broom securing the deciding point for his team. The Bears now have 32 wins this season, the most since a title run in 2005. Their next match will be against number 7 TCU in the Elite 8 this Thursday. Follow @BaylorTennis on Twitter for more updates. And welcome home Jacob Gall. Baylor football landed a commitment from the Buffalo grad transfer offensive lineman, who stands at 6'2" and 305 pounds. He was a part of an offensive line unit that allowed 0 sacks last season and is rated by Pro Football Focus as the top left guard in the country. He will be immediately eligible with 2 years to play in Waco. On the golf course, the Baylor men's team saw its season end in Stillwater yesterday with a top 5 finish in the regional. The top 4 advanced to the NCAA championships. It came down to literally 1 stroke as Arkansas Little Rock shot a 15 over while Baylor landed at 16 over for the match. Little Rock's entire team birdied the 18th hole to capture the victory. Elsewhere in the country, Colgate football coach Dan Hunt is leaving to, quote, address personal issues following an unspecified violation of university policy not involving students. Hunt had been the head coach since 2014 and worked with the program since 1995. And lastly, the Indiana football team has added Jaron Handy from the transfer portal. Handy played in 14 games for Auburn in the last 2 seasons, while former Southern Cal running back Stephen Carr tweeted that he will also be joining Tom Allen's squad in Bloomington. I'm Jack McKenzie in for Armstrong Sims, and that's all the news that is news in college sports. This has been Jack's Minute on SicEm365 Radio's Up-Tempo.
At Baylor University, students find their place to shine. They're faithful friends and inspirational leaders. They're championship teammates and independent thinkers. They're on the cutting edge of high tech and in the halls of history. If you want to make the world a brighter place, you can. And if you want to shine in your own way, you can. The spark you need is already inside you. Bring it to Baylor, where lights shine bright.
How
Allen Samuels is celebrating Jeep Freedom Days. It's an exciting time for the new Jeep Cherokee Latitude or Lux with up to $5,000 in values or 0% for 84 months. Wow, the new Jeep Cherokee Latitude Plus or Lux up to $5,000 in values or 0% for 84 months going on now. Jeep, a great SUV. Allen Samuels, the award-winning customer service Central Texas dealer. The best place to get your next Jeep SUV. Located 201 West Loop 340. Allen Samuels is your friend in the car business.
Come by. Let's be friends.
Let Camille Johnson Realtors guide you seamlessly through the process of buying your dream home or selling your current one. Commercial, farm and ranch, or residential, Camille Johnson Realtors can smoothly and successfully lead you through any transaction. With a team of 28 experienced agents who are excited about serving you, Camille Johnson Realtors services the entire greater Waco area. If you're in the market to buy or sell, contact Camille Johnson Realtors, 104 Midway Center in Woodway, or find them online at www.camillejohnson.com. Camille Johnson Realtors, elegant, charming, warm. Welcome home.
Do you or your kids get nervous about going to the dentist? Stonewood Dental, Dr. Steve Childress, he can help.
I've spent a career taking care of patients who as children had bad experiences, and now they're adults that hate going to the dentist. If I get a kid at 3 years old and they come every 6 months and it's a happy experience, it's normal for them. Now they have an accident at 6 or 7 or 8 at school. Now they have a broken tooth or a trauma, and they have to come here. They're used to lights, they're used to water in their mouth, they're used to experience, they already trust us. It's amazing what we can do with that kid without it being a negative thing. But if I see a 6 or 7 or 8 year old that's never been to the dentist, and now they have a trauma or an unfortunate unexpected toothache, it's harder to do that for that kid and it not be somewhat of a negative experience. So bottom line is I try to teach kids and adults and teenagers and everybody the way I'd want my family treated, which is where it's a necessary part of life. You just take care of it. It doesn't have to be that big a deal.
Learn more, stonewood-dental.com.
Parenting is full of surprises.
You never know what to expect.
So after our son was born, I called my Texas Farm Bureau insurance agent to set up a life insurance policy in case something happened to me.
Sawyer is now 2.
And we'll soon have a sister. There's no one else I would trust with protecting my family.
Stop by and see our agents at one of our 3 McLennan County locations.
Coverage and discounts are subject to qualifications and policy terms and may vary by situation.
From the first workout to the last practice, sports is an incredible challenge. Hi, this is Dan Ingham with the First National Bank of Central Texas, and we're proud to support each athlete, every parent, and our educators. From families, small businesses, to the biggest industry, we're here to help. With remarkable products like First Free Checking, we've got banking ideas that fuel big dreams. The First National Bank of Central Texas. Familiar faces making local decisions.
Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Welcome back to Up Tempo on SicEm365 Radio. Call us on the Impact Health Labs caller line at 254-339-1122.
Sit down, Bob. I'm not happy, Bob. Not happy.
Now back to the Bears Den with Drake Toll and J.D. PicKell for the Blonde Boys Power Hour.
Hey, Drizzy. We got you on video, baby. We got you on video. The audio is still not quite coming in, but you look really good. I'm not going to lie to you. I think you're probably an 11 out of 10 if we're going off the optics. So we're going to get that figured out. Joining us now, Garrett Rose, who went viral, is currently going viral. There's no past tense. He is viral right now. He's the definition of viral. When Sam Houston State pulled off the championship win this past Sunday, Garrett was seen, I don't know if seen is the right word, he was basically the main event after the national championship for his emotional response to his Cats winning the whole thing. Joining us now, Garrett Rose, the Sam Houston State superfan. Garrett, how are you doing? We're getting him queued up. We got Garrett here on the Zoom, but again, Garrett Rose, who has been, like he said, making the rounds as of late with, I'm sure, just a myriad of shows that are asking him to come on their program. Garrett, can you hear me now, boss? Garrett can hear me. Garrett, can you give us a test here?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Hey, there we go. There we go. And Jack McKenzie said, "Let there be sound." We got Drizzy on there too.
You guys can hear me?
Dude, this is. I don't want to jinx it, but we got everybody here visual and audio.
Unbelievable.
Wow. Garrett, I know JD's introed you there. Gave you a really beautiful intro. Garrett, I'm from the metropolis of Valonia, Arkansas right now, working with our remote show setup. So things are a little bit different today, but thanks for working with us. Garrett, for you, for the folks that haven't seen it, Garrett cried like a freaking baby on national television after Sam Houston State won the national championship. But, we've been there, Garrett. We've been there with Baylor. We've seen our team win it all, take glory, and plenty of Baylor fans were doing the exact same thing on that day. So I think everybody here understands and gets it. But for you, a lot of folks get to live that 15 minutes of fame at some point in their life. You're in the middle of it right now. What is that like?
Lost for words. Garrett Rose lost for words again. Working through some technical difficulties on our end. I promise you we got Garrett. He's here. He's somewhere around here. Of course, yesterday we had some issues with our internet, trying to get it all sorted out. But Garrett Rose, again, we'll get him here set up for you in a second. But
he's just winding up.
He's just winding up, man. Hey, you don't rush greatness. You just let it happen. Just let it happen all at once.
I think we lost him on the Zoom.
We lost him on the Zoom.
We dropped connection.
Lost him on the Zoom.
But I will tell you,
all right.
I knew about this guy before even on the show because he's going on Twitter right now, and everyone that tweets out a video of him crying, he's just like, hey, look, that's me. He is gaining a lot of traction on Twitter from that very simple move. And
that's so cool.
Very effective move, I should say. But yeah, my Sam Houston Bearcats that I predicted to win it all in the beginning of the season won it all in dramatic fashion from my hometown, Frisco, Texas. It was absolutely a great game to watch. I'm just excited to hear this guy's breakdown. Who knows Sam Houston football better than this guy? I would say no one.
Andrew,
man, yeah.
Andrew called it. I don't think we gave that enough shine. You called at the beginning of the FCS season your two shots. I think it was JMU and Sam Houston.
Right, yeah.
Both of which made a deep run in the playoff. Of course, Sam Houston winning the whole thing. Go ahead and, I know around the horn they do, your 60 seconds of fame. We have what it looks like around 60 seconds to kill. So,
right.
Talk to us. Talk to us here. Walk us through that.
I say that. I didn't mean to cut Andrew off. We got Garrett jumping back in here
Rain
with
check
us.
on the 60 seconds.
Don't worry about it.
Rain check on that.
I'm coming right back to you, man. You can hear us and see us. I think we got you back and ready to go. He said his computer crashed. We got him now. Working through technical difficulties all around today. But, Garrett, hey, 15 minutes of fame, man. Folks, a lot of folks live it. You're in the middle of it, though. You're getting to pinch yourself while you're in the middle of it. What has this been like?
It has been one of the most surreal weeks of my life. The fact that we won the national championship and now, having my face plastered all over the Sam Houston State statue off of 45. It's just been – there's no words. It's just – I never thought I'd be in this position where I'm at today.
Wow.
Garrett, the emotion was so visible, obviously, for not only everyone that was there, but everybody that watched the game on national television. We saw the exterior. Take us into the interior. What was going on in your mind when you broke down and realized your team was national champions?
That entire drive, I was just praying. I'm like, God, please just pull out a miracle, pull out a miracle, pull out a miracle. And then Schmidt threw that dime of a throw, and it's just – and then I was like, well, hold on. We still have 16 seconds. And I think I remember they did I think South Dakota had one play where they ran it back. And I'm like, again, don't do it again. Don't do it again. So I'm just on the edge of my seat. I wasn't even sitting, but I was on the edge of my seat and just thanking God the entire time and just taking in the moment that we actually just won.
Garrett, along with it, like I said, a lot of Baylor fans know what it's like now to win a national championship and many of them to be there in Indianapolis. So it takes a while to set in. But I got to know, man, for the folks that aren't familiar, what is your experience with Sam Houston State? Really, how did you become that diehard Bearcat fan?
I'm a guy that wears my heart on his sleeve and passionate about everything. I cheer for the Aggies. I cheer for my home, the Astros. Being a part of that in 2017 was amazing. And I just would like to say I'm a very supportive guy. So being a Bearcat, once I got my acceptance letter, I fully committed to Bearcat Nation.
Now, Garrett, I have also cried a time or two over sporting events. I, however, find myself more involved when I have some sort of financial stake in the game. So I have to ask you, did you have any money on Sam Houston State? Because you were crying like a man who had just won $1 million, which I love.
Absolutely not. I love how people are like, I was having a good time. People would say like, this man just put a whole lot of money, like put his life savings on. I'm like, yep, that was the best dollar I ever spent. Cause I'm a college kid. Like I don't have money. So just being able to, and like people were like, dude, this guy's drunk off his rocker. I'm like, nope, completely sober. Like I was driving home. So just, that was just raw emotion and like 100% me. Like there was no ulterior motive than we won.
Just high on life.
Garrett, it's the old adage, it's the dance like nobody's watching. And you went with the whole like cry like nobody's watching. I mean, just that joy, that emotion. You're in a stadium filled with almost 10,000 people in Frisco, Texas, and you said, "Look, like you said, I'm going to wear my heart on my sleeve, my emotions on my sleeve." I mean, were you the only person in the stadium in that moment?
Oh no! Literally, 3 people down. My best friend Zane. He was crying too because he had just graduated 2 days prior, and I'm graduating in August, so like this is like the last ride, and just screaming at each other, we did it, and sharing the friends. Yeah, it was just everyone. There was like I was the encapsulation of every Bearcat fan that day. I just was lucky enough to get caught. Like I'm pretty sure somebody else was probably ugly crying way more than I was.
I love that. I love that clip so much because I feel like that really embodies what college football is all about. Like that's what makes college football special is the diehard fans that are living and dying and crying by their team's performance. That was so special and so fun to watch. Now I got to ask, I saw this on your Twitter page. You actually got to hold the national championship trophy. What's the story behind that?
So actually, the photographer. This happened literally 2 hours ago. Like those photos just came into me. Like the photographer of the school goes to my church here, and we're pretty close. And he was like, "Hey, are you in Huntsville? Because if so, meet at my office at 9 a.m. The trophy's here." And I was like, "Oh, absolutely."
No way.
He was like, "If you want."
Wow.
Holy cow. I mean, we're trying to get the photos up. It's just pure elation holding that Natty trophy. Like that is special. We're going to see if we can get those up there for you. Again, we're working through technical difficulties, making sure this whole thing works for you. But it's epic visual.
Garrett, along with that, holding the national championship trophy, taking on the national championship, ESPN, the world kind of at your fingertips, the sports world at your fingertips now with your 15 seconds of fame. I mean, you talked about some of those reactions that folks have given you. You're from your family to friends to national media, national analysts. Walk us through just some of the publicity that you've gotten out of this.
So I had the honor of being on ESPN with Matt Mosley. Great guy. I didn't have a voice. Like I'm still hoarse right now, but like I couldn't get anything audible out with him. So I appreciate him putting up with me in that. I have a podcast coming up this Sunday with FCS Fan Nation, I think. And I just can't, like, there's no words to describe how appreciative and thankful I am to be able to just share this moment with everyone.
Sharing a moment with the nation. I mean, you're legitimately sharing a national championship moment with the nation because of your reaction. Like I said, though, your family. I mean, your friends. They're all seeing you all over everywhere. What have they said?
Oh, it's so funny. Like all my friends. Like we went to go play volleyball yesterday because we had like a break in the rain yesterday, and they were just like, "Oh my gosh, it's the crying Bearcat fan." And I like to say I'm a humble guy, and it's weird getting this notoriety, and like it's growing up from a small town, Texas. It's just so surreal. Like people across the Sam Houston, you guys catching it on me, and it's just been so surreal. I can't thank God enough for all of this, honestly.
Wow. Across the country. And you're on your phone there at the end, it looks like, when you're sort of showing that emotion on national TV. Were you on FaceTime with your friends, you said, or what was going on there? It looks like you were talking to somebody else when y'all captured that natty.
Yeah, so some of my family doesn't have they don't have cable. So I went to Facebook Live and I tried to catch those last moments for them.
That's epic. Wow. That is epic. As you see the clips there of my man showing his heart and soul for this program, man. That's what it's all about. Wow. That's what it's all about. Drake, you got anything else for my man?
Garrett, I tweeted it out as soon as I saw the video. I mean, I was watching the game live. I wasn't going to. We're good buddies with old Brian Bell, who is a legendary Sam Houston State quarterback from 10 years ago, winningest quarterback all time, most passing yards and touchdowns. So in his honor, I was like, all right, I'll watch the game, at least the fourth quarter of the game. And then I tweeted immediately, make crying Sam Houston State fan go viral. I was just hoping that everyone else saw what I saw on Saturday and your reaction to winning a national championship. And again, it means so much more because we just saw that. We just got to see that on the Baylor end, and the fact that now you get to share the emotions of what it's like to win a national championship. If you can, Garrett, last question for you. Wrap it all up with a bow right here. Just try to explain to us what winning a national championship has been like, and then everything that's followed with that for you.
Gosh, winning a national championship is great, and all of that is awesome. But at the end of the day, just all glory to God, man. It's here today, gone tomorrow, but my love for Christ is here forever. And so I want to thank him first and foremost for everything. I couldn't be here without him. I wouldn't be where I was that day if it wasn't for moving seats. But it's just being able to be a part of that on my senior year, last game as an undergrad, and sharing that with some really close friends, it's so surreal, and it's I'm going to remember this until I die.
Wow. I love that. I'm all on board for that, Garrett. Thanks so much for joining us, man, and hopefully we'll do a little back-to-back action when they win it again next time. You want to come back on and talk about the repeat of Sam Houston State in the national championships?
Hey, same time next year.
Hey, Garrett, before you get out of here, too, though, we got some Bearcat games questions for you today that we play with all our guests and callers on the show. Today's question of the day is, if you could pick one Baylor program to take on vacation, which team would it be and where are you going? But that's our Bear Games question. This is our Bearcats games question. You got to take one Sam Houston program on vacation. Which team are you taking and where are you going?
I'd have to say the football team. They just won the national championship, and it'd be awesome to have a vacation with them.
Bring it on. Hey, Garrett, thanks so much for joining the show today. Congratulations on not just a national championship, but being in the Fan Hall of Fame now effectively and forever. When they play, the ESPN intro into next season's football year, you'll be on there, and that's going to be awesome. Thank you for joining the show with us today.
Thank you so much for having me, guys.
Yeah, been an absolute pleasure to have Garrett on the show. Tell you what, JD, when we hit this break, we're going to come on back, and after that, we'll come back with some. What do you say we play a couple of not just Bear games, but actual games, and do some Tunes Wednesday, World Hits Wednesday, and maybe a little Dead or Alive.
I love it. I'm excited for this. Sounds like a good old deal.
I say let's do it. All right, I'm Drake Toll. It's J.D. PicKell. When we come back, we're doing some Dead or Alive and World Hits Wednesday. Don't go anywhere. This is Up Tempo.
Elite 8 looks good on you, Baylor men's tennis. Michael Woodson and his number 1 boys are moving on with a rather decisive 4-1 victory over number 14 Ole Miss in the Sweet 16 on Monday. The green and gold dominated the doubles point with a combined score of 17-6 on all courts when doubles play ended. Baylor then battled out 3 matches in the singles, with Charlie Broom securing the deciding point for his team. The Bears now have 32 wins this season, the most since a title run in 2005. Their next match will be against number 7 TCU in the Elite 8 this Thursday. Follow @BaylorTennis on Twitter for more updates. And welcome home Jacob Gall. Baylor football landed a commitment from the Buffalo grad transfer offensive lineman, who stands at 6'2" and 305 pounds. He was a part of an offensive line unit that allowed 0 sacks last season and is rated by Pro Football Focus as the top left guard in the country. He will be immediately eligible with 2 years to play in Waco. On the golf course, the Baylor men's team saw its season end in Stillwater yesterday with a top 5 finish in the regional. The top 4 advanced to the NCAA championships. It came down to literally one stroke as Arkansas Little Rock shot a 15 over while Baylor landed at 16 over for the match. Little Rock's entire team birdied the 18th hole to capture the victory. Elsewhere in the country, Colgate football coach Dan Hunt is leaving to, quote, address personal issues following an unspecified violation of university policy not involving students. Hunt had been the head coach since 2014 and worked with the program since 1995. And lastly, the Indiana football team has added Jaron Handy from the transfer portal. Handy played in 14 games for Auburn in the last 2 seasons, while former Southern Cal running back Stephen Carr tweeted that he will also be joining Tom Allen's squad in Bloomington. I'm Jack McKenzie in for Armstrong Sims, and that's all the news that is news in college sports. This has been Jack's Minute on SicEm365 Radio's Up Tempo.
Hey, this is Bryce Petty, former starting quarterback and 2-time Big 12 champion, and I know firsthand the importance of being in top shape both on and off the field. So listen up, men. If you're feeling beat down day in and day out and looking for that high-performance edge that separates the men from the boys, then look no further than the Petty Clinic Low T in Waco. Petty Clinic is a comprehensive men's healthcare clinic with an atmosphere catering to men. Board-certified Dr. Kent Petty has a special interest in offering the highest quality medical care to men of all ages. Some of the services offered include screening and treatment for low testosterone or thyroid, infertility, high blood pressure, diabetes, high cholesterol, sleep apnea, while offering comprehensive wellness exams and complete men's health lab panels. High performance men, remember, it's not just a Petty thing. This is Bryce Petty, encouraging you to reach out and Google search Petty Clinic Low T or go to pettycliniclowt.com and get your complimentary lab screening today.
Riverbend Liquor and Wine has their easy-to-access drive-thru open and convenient and clean in-store location on the corner of Lakeshore Drive and North 19th Street in Waco. Riverbend Liquor has the best and most extensive variety of craft beer selections in Waco, and Balcones whiskey, including single malt, pot still, baby blue, rye, brimstone, and the all-new Lineage in stock. Riverbend Liquor and Wine, family-owned and operated, and a hidden gem in Waco on Lakeshore Drive and 19th Street. And find out more on Facebook and Instagram.
How did Edward Jones become one of the biggest financial service companies in the world? By not acting that way. Financial strategies, one-on-one advice, it's a big difference. And that's why Brad Wilson, your Edward Jones financial advisor, makes sense of investing. Experience the difference for yourself. Brad Wilson, 250 Sharon Drive in Woodway, 254-776-4337. Edward Jones, member SIPC.
Stepping into the boots of a U.S. Army officer can add confidence and leadership skills to your son or daughter's career path. See all the things they can achieve in our boots at GoArmy.com. U.S. Army Waco Recruiting Company, 254-598-8131 or 254-776-1543.
At Ideal MRI, we feel blessed to be part of the Waco community. We're a small family business here in Central Texas. At times like this, the cost of healthcare has never been more important. And unfortunately, significant illnesses and injuries still occur. And that's why Ideal MRI is open and here to serve you through this difficult time. So if you need an MRI, ask your doctor about Ideal MRI. You can schedule online in minutes at idealmri.com or call 833-IDEAL-MRI.
At Marco's Pizza, get craveable pizza made the Italian way with dough made from scratch, an original sauce recipe, 3 fresh signature cheeses, and premium toppings you love, served hot and safe. Right now, you can get unlimited medium one-topping pizzas for just $6.99 each. Why stop at just one? Order with your app or at marcos.com for curbside, carryout, or delivery today. Marco's, pizza lovers get it.
Welcome back to Up Tempo on SicEm365 Radio.
Why are you the way that you are? Honestly, every time I try to do something fun or exciting, you make it not that way. I hate so much about the things that you choose to be.
Now back to the Bears Den with Drake Toll and J.D. PicKell for the Blonde Boys Power Hour.
Little Blonde Boys Power Hour exclamation mark coming your way. Drake, here we got some games to play. That's just the word on the street. Any truth to that right now, or what's going on?
Yeah, there's a lot of truth to that. A lot of games coming up to play. I do want to say, I do want to give a big shout out today to the administration of those at Valonia High School. You can see the helmet and the baseball helmets up above me.
Abe Lincoln.
Yeah, the home Wi-Fi wasn't good enough, so I put in a call to Nick Newman, the athletic director at Valonia High School, and he said, "Look, come on up. use my office. You can sit in my nice, comfy, big chair. And, I always wanted to be in here when I wasn't in trouble, and now I am in the offices at Valona. You got a little Abe Lincoln action behind me, too. So shout out to those guys, the old Stomping Grounds, for supporting us today. But we got some games to kick off right here. We got Dead or Alive.
They send y'all to the athletic director's office when you get in trouble?
Well, you got a hole in my story right there. Yeah, in football you do. If you fail a drug test, I never fail a drug test though. Thankfully,
I was just checking.
He's making sure, just checking it out. Along with it though, what we do have, we got World Hits Wednesday and we got Dead or Alive today, so we couldn't do either of those on Monday or Tuesday. But let's roll it with World Hits Wednesday. Jack, Andrew, and JD. Everybody ready?
Rock and roll.
Let's do it.
Hit it.
You work like a mule mining Pike County coal.
Have you ever met a girl that you tried to date, but a year to make love she wanted?
Oh, misty eye of the mountain below. Baby, you've been making me crazy. Wait, my head $1 million, but I'd spend it all.
Yeah.
Not
certified
really
bops.
Wanna know. Dang, okay. I've heard a lot of those. I don't know if I know the titles to all of those.
My baby. Andrew, how you feeling?
This is another 0 for 5 day. Like
No.
I know all these songs. I just don't know their names and who sings them. Like I know them.
You don't know Say You're Just a Friend?
You could probably sing that, though.
Right. It's like a song that it would come on like a karaoke bar. Like, I'm all right with it. But I couldn't choose it because I don't know the name or person who. But I know the song, yeah. I don't know.
Wow.
Not great.
Wow.
We're gonna be spotty
hit it
here.
one more time.
Hit it one more time, all right.
Daddy worked like a mule mining Pike County coal.
Have you ever met a girl that you tried to date, but a year to make love she wanted?
Oh, misty eye of the mountain below. Baby, you've been making me crazy. Wait, my head $1 million, but I'd spend it all.
I like that a lot. You nailed
All right.
those, Drake. You nailed those. I'm glad I'm not playing against you, so I don't have to just get embarrassed again.
Out of the 10 total things, I think I'm going to get 2.
Really? Okay.
All right. Yeah, let's start with Jack. Jack, what do you have for song number 1?
Nothing.
Okay. JD? Andrew?
That would be God's Plan, Drake.
Oh, good guess.
Song number 1 was Nose on the Grindstone by Tyler Childers.
Yeah,
I wasn't getting that. Did you get that, Andrew?
No, that's
Okay.
I didn't get
get that.
Tyler Childers action. Anybody got song number 2?
I think
You're
it's
Just a Friend.
Just a Friend.
Yeah.
Who's it by? Hang on, let me think. I'm gonna say Biggie.
Biggie, okay. Anybody else got an artist there?
I mean, I know it's Just a Friend because they all said it's just a friend. But I don't know. CeeLo Green.
Gotta go with Biz Markie. It is Biz Markie with Just a Friend. Then song number 3, little redhead
did you get
action.
that, Jack?
Which one?
Just a Friend.
Just a Friend?
What'd you put? The title.
Not,
I didn't. Don't worry about it.
Okay.
The next one. Was the next one the Ed Sheeran one from The Hobbit?
Yes, I will give you Ed Sheeran. Anybody got
It's called I See Fire.
Really?
Yep.
Oh,
it is.
It's a hit.
I feel like I would have
Andrew,
known.
did you have that?
No, I did not have that. I mean,
Okay.
I'm taking a fat L here. I'll just say it.
Okay. Song number 4.
Story of my
JD
life.
knows this guy. JD knows this guy pretty well. They are personal friends, so that was a little bit of cheating. But JD, what do you got for me?
That's gonna be Lately by Forrest.
Yeah, Lately by Forrest. Anybody else had that?
Yeah, I had that.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
Hey, Rob.
Yeah.
Hey, winners win, shoot or shoot.
Winners
Jack?
Nothing.
Last song for you guys? Anybody got the old, this one's a solid bop.
That's a great song. I just don't know it.
It's Red Hot Chili Peppers. What's it called? Is it I say it's Santeria?
Santeria.
That actually might be it.
Red Hot
by
Chili Peppers?
Sublime.
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 Oh
Very
no.
simple.
Okay.
Let's rock and roll into a quick little game here of Dead or Alive. Number 1 for the guys in the studio. Is Charlie Daniels, the country singer, dead or alive?
What does he sing?
Yeah, good question.
Devil Went Down to Georgia, Uneasy Rider.
Oh, I think he's dead. I
I'm
think
gonna
he's
go dead on that one.
It's all
We
dead.
got a bunch of dads going all around. He is dead very recently, 83 years old.
Dang.
Tom Jones sang "It's Not Unusual to Be Loved."
Oh man, I love that song.
I'm gonna go alive.
I hope he's alive. I'll say alive just for the scientific.
He is alive. 80 years old.
There we go.
Kenny Rogers, you got to know when to hold him.
There's no way he's dead.
Know when to fold.
I was going to say dead.
Kenny Rogers?
I think he's dead.
I think he's alive.
I'm going to say alive, but I might be wrong.
He would have been 81 years old today and watching our show, but he's dead.
Wow.
Alan Jackson. Remember when? Way down yonder on the Chattahoochee. Chasing that neon rainbow.
Drake, between this and the Music Monday, you're on fire. I'm going to say he is dead, but you're killing it. I just want to give a quick shout out to your selection here.
I've listened to Chattahoochee or whatever. He sounds like a young voice. I'm going to say alive.
He is only 63 and alive.
There we go.
Alan Jackson, alive. Andy Gibb of the Bee Gees.
Ooh, Bee Gees, I'm going to say he's dead. What do we think?
I'm also going to say he's dead.
I'll join the party.
It's a dark funeral.
Would have been 63.
Oh,
How about Rick Astley? Never going to give you
alive. I can't deal with it.
Yeah, he's 55. He's alive.
I wasn't even sure. I was like, I don't know.
Alice Cooper, the rock guitarist, Alice Cooper.
Let's say alive.
Okay, bold.
With a name like Alice, I'm going to say dead.
Alive.
More Alices are dead than alive, but this one's alive. 73 years old.
There we go.
Chuck Berry, legendary guitarist Chuck Berry.
Alive?
Ooh, I've never heard of Chuck Berry. What is he in? Is he in a group?
I don't think he's just a. I'm trying to think. You would know it, but I guess not.
I guess he's dead.
You would know it,
Yeah,
but I guess not.
He is dead. He's 93.
Really? Okay.
He's singing something big. Last but not least, Carl Wilson, founding member of the Beach Boys.
Ooh, I think he's dead. Beach Boys are kind of dead, right?
No, Beach Boys are pretty alive, but this one is dead. Carl Wilson, 74 today. We come back from this break. Luke Boyd, the closer. The starting closer is what I referenced him as earlier today. For Baylor baseball, joins the show talking about the Oklahoma series this weekend. We're joined by Coach Rod on Thursday, but Luke Boyd today, he shut down Oklahoma State. He shut down Oklahoma State. He joins our show today to talk to us about the Baylor baseball season, where they go from here. And I do want to let you know the first hour of SicEm365's Up Tempo is brought to you by Banson Business Services, owned by Baylor grad and SicEm365 premium member Jonathan Green. Banson Business Services offers a full suite of business support and financial services. Banson specializes in bookkeeping, payroll, outsourced CFO services, and consulting. They can help you with your taxes. Their business helps you run your business. Visit SicEm365.com/Banson, BANCIN. For more information. I'm Drake Toll, J.D. PicKell. Got Andrew Robertson and Jack McKenzie in studio today. When we come back, we're joined on the show by Luke Boyd, Baylor baseball legend in his own right already, and he still plays for him. This is Up Tempo.
Elite 8 looks good on you, Baylor men's tennis. Michael Woodson and his number 1 boys are moving on with a rather decisive 4-1 victory over number 14 Ole Miss in the Sweet 16 on Monday. The green and gold dominated the doubles point with a combined score of 17-6 on all courts when doubles play ended. Baylor then battled out 3 matches in the singles, with Charlie Broom securing the deciding point for his team. The Bears now have 32 wins this season, the most since a title run in 2005. Their next match will be against number 7 TCU in the Elite 8 this Thursday. Follow @Baylor Tennis on Twitter for more updates. And welcome home Jacob Gall. Baylor football landed a commitment from the Buffalo grad transfer offensive lineman, who stands at 6'2" and 305 pounds. He was a part of an offensive line unit that allowed 0 sacks last season and is rated by Pro Football Focus as the top left guard in the country. He will be immediately eligible with 2 years to play in Waco. On the golf course, the Baylor men's team saw its season end in Stillwater yesterday with a top 5 finish in the regional. The top 4 advanced to the NCAA championships. It came down to literally 1 stroke as Arkansas Little Rock shot a 15 over while Baylor landed at 16 over for the match. Little Rock's entire team birdied the 18th hole to capture the victory. Elsewhere in the country, Colgate football coach Dan Hunt is leaving to, quote, address personal issues following an unspecified violation of university policy not involving students. Hunt had been the head coach since 2014 and worked with the program since 1995. And lastly, the Indiana football team has added Jaron Handy from the transfer portal. Handy played in 14 games for Auburn in the last 2 seasons, while former Southern Cal running back Stephen Carr tweeted that he will also be joining Tom Allen's squad in Bloomington. I'm Jack McKenzie in for Armstrong Sims, and that's all the news that is news in college sports. This has been Jack's Minute on SicEm365 Radio's Up Tempo.
Y'all listen up. Let me tell you something about group meals from Rudy's Barbecue. It's got all you need for all the folks you gotta feed. Smoked meat, sides, and more. There's everything down to the tablecloth, just like the one that you see at the store. At a bridal shower, it's better than flowers. And a long business meeting, it'll pass the hours. It'll feed all the cousins at a family function. It's better than potluck at a church luncheon. Next time you need to feed 10 or more, call and order a Rudy's Group meal.
Next in line. Pay over qualified buyer with $4,000 down at 2.9% TTL extra. See deal for detail.
Travel is back, and so are the savings at the Memorial Day Savings Event at Richard Carr. Save $5,900 on 2021 Buick Encore. Drive off in the affordable luxury of a Buick Encore for as little as $258 a month. Or vacation in the spacious comfort of a 3-row Buick Enclave and save $8,500. 100% credit approval is always our goal. It's the Memorial Day Savings Event going on now at Richard Carr.
At Richard Carr, we give you more. Southwest Sports Medicine and Orthopedics, the team physician of Baylor Athletics. Our doctors specialize in the diagnosis and treatment of any and all sports-related injuries. Celebrating over a decade of service in Central Texas, our doctors are equipped to handle a wide range of issues, whether it's your foot or ankle, orthopedic spine care, your hand or wrist, knee and shoulder pain, or if you're in need of our arthritis or total joint clinic. Come see us at the new Baylor Scott and White Ted and Sue Getterman Sports and Orthopedic Center. Trusted doctors at Baylor Trust, Southwest Sports Medicine and Orthopedics. Our goal is to get you back in the game.
In the market for a quality metal building? Since 1943, Pioneer Steel and Pipe has helped Central Texas residential and commercial customers with metal building design, panel options, building components, and trim options. Pioneer Steel and Pipe's residential line is energy efficient, offers low maintenance, reduces insurance payments, is impact resistant, and carries up to a 45-year limited warranty. In addition, they can also help you find a metal building contractor for your project. Pioneer Steel and Pipe with locations in Waco and Bryan and at pioneerboys.com.
Boots add protection. Good boots help you climb better and move forward faster. And when your son or daughter steps into the boots of a U.S. Army officer, they also learn how to lead. In these boots, they'll gain more confidence with expert training in one of more than 150 occupational specialties. In these boots, they'll stand a little taller and lead a team with diverse backgrounds and areas of expertise to successfully accomplish whatever challenge comes next. In these boots, they'll earn respect with valuable experience from day one that will give them solid footing for success into the future. Highly qualified candidates who earn a spot on our team can receive comprehensive health care coverage, college tuition assistance, and a bonus of up to $40,000. See all the things your son or daughter can achieve in our boots at GoArmy.com. U.S. Army Waco Recruiting Company, 254-598-8131 or 254-776-1543.
Welcome back to Up Tempo on SicEm365 Radio.
Cynthia, Jesus died for our Cynthias.
Call us on the Impact Health Labs caller line at 254-339-1122.
Julia Roberts. Julia Roberts.
Now back to the Bears Den with Drake Toll.
And welcome back to the Petty Clinic Low T Bears Den remote, coming to you live from Valonia, Arkansas today, doing remote shows while, well, maybe you're in Waco, Dallas, wherever you are. Baylor baseball is hot right now. Baylor baseball, I mean, on a tear going through this season. 4 straight conference victories. They go to Oklahoma State and take a series take a win on Sunday 9-3. And now you got Oklahoma this weekend with a lot of the line of conference standings. And the Baylor baseball team has an opportunity to jump in the top 4, even top 3 in the Big 12 standings with a big weekend this weekend. And a part of the reason Baylor baseball is so good this season is their closer. Every great team needs a closer, right? I mean, I know you've heard the name Kevin Kopps, but this guy is even better. That's Luke Boyd of the Baylor baseball team. Luke, it's your world and we're all living in it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just enjoying this season. I know it's been a weird year, especially coming back. Wasn't really expecting that, but honestly, I wasn't really trying to change anything because I was having a success last year, so there's no really reason to change anything. So I'm just, taking it one weekend at a time, one game at a time, one pitch at a time. That's all. But, yeah, good to be here. Thank you.
Luke, take me through it. I mean, you look at last season and you had gotten hot. The team in general had gotten hot. You sweep the Shriners Classic, and there was a high ceiling for Baylor baseball in that 2020 year. And then the bottom falls out. COVID happens. I remember you guys being in quarantine as a team after that trip to California, and the TSA agent test positive. I mean, that was just weird. And then the season's gone all together. I mean, what all goes into a decision to come back and play baseball for Baylor?
Yeah, that was quite the experience after that, during that, those quarantine moments. But it was honestly a little bit scary too, because there's just so much uncertainty. We didn't know what the NCAA was going to come back with the seniors and what they were going to be able to give us, and if we were able to have another year of eligibility. But, I was just banking on that they would make that, that right decision to allow us to come back. So this off season wasn't able to, play competitively, just like a lot of others. So I just worked on staying healthy. And once again, I didn't no need to change anything with my mentality or mechanics, because I was having a lot of success that year. And it was unfortunate, that Shriners Classic with sweeping those SEC teams, that kind of showed that this team can compete with anyone. And if we execute, we can beat anyone. And that includes this year.
Luke, along with that, your senior season in 2020, prior to that, you had been drafted. I mean, you've gotten, what it's like to have an MLB team say, hey, we want you to come play for us. I mean, you got a taste of that. And then you get the shortened draft with the COVID year and all the conversations and questions. I mean, what were you weighing as far as possibly going pro or maybe coming back? What was that decision like?
Yeah, I mean, the whole draft experience is really, it's confusing in a way. I've always heard it was, but being in it firsthand, it really is. And so, yeah, even after that shortened season, I was still obviously keeping that option available. And again, the draft was being shortened. I knew that, but they didn't know whether it was going to be 5 or 10 rounds. And, talking to a few scouts before they knew it was 5 rounds, I was talking to a few, quite a bit. And then as soon as MLB announced that I was going to be 5 rounds, that's kind of when my phone got a little bit drier. But I heard a lot of free agent deals. And I was still, again, considering it, but with John Strauss and Coach Rod, they're able to, pull it together where I was able to, afford another year and come back and help this team. And again, Baylor's the only school to offer me. Baylor was the only Division I school to take a chance on me. So I knew I was going to, give everything I can to these coaches and come back if I was able to.
Luke, you made a decision to come back to Baylor on a team that most people in the media, even before guys like yourself and Andy Thomas came back, the Big 12 preseason poll had you guys at 8th. I mean, I can't imagine had you guys not come back where this baseball team would have been ranked preseason. I mean, it's not like you're walking back into what was considered a national championship caliber team. You took a chance to come back to a team to try to compete when a lot of folks thought that you wouldn't. And now here you are in the thick of the race in the Big 12 with the possibility of bolstering your postseason resume. Where did this season come from?
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of things that go into that. One is we've been in that situation before with Baylor. They kind of underestimated, even with years with, Davis and Shea Langeliers and Nick Lofton. So losing those guys, we were kind of expecting that. I didn't know about 8, but we've been used to that situation. But also, again, I love this university, and I would do, I'd come back as much as I can if I could for many years, but obviously, they don't allow that. But again, we've just been kind of used to being the underdogs. And so it was kind of just being comfortable in that situation, knowing that those don't really matter. And the only thing it does is just motivate us. So that's all it did.
Luke, I've looked, I asked Coach Rod this, talking about bulletin board material, and really there are a lot of coaches out there that when anybody doubts them in the national media, they'll tack that article right up on the bulletin board so everybody can see it, and they're proving people wrong. And he said, he's not a big bulletin board guy, but that 8th overall preseason Big 12 ranking, that is still one of those things that is such great fuel for this team. I mean, are you a bulletin board guy? Are you looking at any of the national analysts and saying, all right, we're going to prove you wrong?
I mean, yeah, absolutely. I started in high school. Again, wasn't a big recruit. I got this offer after I graduated high school, wasn't a big prospect. So I'm always trying to prove people wrong. So I remember that meeting still with Coach Rod after the we got that ranking where he came up with a paper and it was printed just a big number 8. And he just asked, you guys know what this means? And this is where they put us. And again, he was never the coach to do that. He ignored all the rankings and preseason stuff. But, that did fuel us a little bit. That fired us up, no doubt.
Well, Luke, you get into conference play, and I've asked this to most of the baseball players we've had on the show. Everybody points back to the UT-RGV series, but really where I want to go with you is looking at that Texas and TCU. First and foremost, what an awful schedule to have to face those two to start off your conference slate. But starting 1-5, I know I've talked about it with a lot of the guys. I mean, this is where most teams fold. How do you come back from 1-5 in conference to build a solid resume in league play? And you guys have done it. I've heard from a couple different people that there was a message, a turning point after the TCU series. What do you remember about that?
It was tough, going 1-5 is we're just kind of trying to find our footing and whatnot. But all we did was really just take it one game at a time. I know that's such a cliche, but I really live by that. Not just one game at a time, one inning at a time, but it's one pitch at a time. Just try to win the one pitch at a time. And after you release that ball, after you throw that ball, you got no control in it. You're just focusing on that next pitch. TCU definitely hurt, and honestly, I feel like Texas hurt more just because we were so close and we actually, felt like we should have won those games previously. But that was huge of us to come out on Sunday and kind of kick them around a little bit. And then, TCU, they had some phenomenal pitching that we just didn't really have our timing with. But that TCU series, it kind of scared us in a way because I've been here 4 years, 3.5, and been in regional every single year. And that one kind of is like, if we don't pull it together, we're not going to make a regional. And regional is just all we want to do because that's the best time of the year and the most fun. So, after that TCU series, it was really just taking it one game at a time. Don't try to just do a five-run home run in the first inning, blah, blah. It's just winning each and every pitch that you can.
Luke, along with that and looking up and down the schedule, you talk about taking it one game at a time. I mean, that turnaround that you made in Big 12 play and going to Lubbock and just absolutely demolishing Texas Tech overall in that series. I mean, the run differential is astronomical. I mean, pointing to series like that, this entire way, I know that you're looking right at a team in front of you, but has it been in your mind that you're fighting for a spot in the postseason?
I mean, yeah, absolutely. Again, all I want to do is take this team to regional. It'd be absolutely heartbreaking if we're able to not find a spot in there, especially, me and Andy's and all these seniors, senior year, not being able to pull that together. But yeah, that Lubbock series, I think, we were only down one inning out of the 27 innings there. So we really did, dominate there. And I think we weren't again, that was one of those things where it kind of fired us up from like the preseason weekend things there. No one really chose us to come in there and, beat them, even take one game to them. So that did fire us up for sure. But yeah, I just really do live by that one game at a time. So I'm not really thinking about that anymore. All I'm thinking about is Thursday night against OU, and that's it.
Luke, for you moving forward this season, I asked Coach Rod this, talking about Madison Bumgarner, that one year that he threw like 6 games in the World Series, just he had to get his team there. When it comes to you, your arm, your usage, really, where do you feel most comfortable being in these games? I mean, is there ever a point where we'll see you on the starting bump one night?
I mean, I'm always down to help the team in any way. I would love to beat a team by 10 runs because that's just, the most comfortable. But I thrive off those pressure situations. My junior year, not right now, I'm not having any pain right now. My junior year, I was in quite a bit of pain with my shoulder, but I had surgery since and did well. But those adrenaline, high pressure situations were the only things that got me through those innings because I was kind of numb out there just living off adrenaline. But yeah, I love those high pressure situations. I know we have other guys on this stuff that can pitch in those situations, but just from a personal standpoint, I know I'm the only one that I want out there on the mound right now. And I just feel like I need to get the job done, for my team. But yeah, that's it basically.
Luke, along with that, I look up and down the schedule and I think about the amount of appearances you've seen this year. There have been so many games where, by the time you get to the 8th, 9th inning, Baylor's up by 8, 12, in some cases 20, and there's no need to bring the closer role. You got the closer role. Why even have a closer when you're up by 15? When you've got an offense that is producing runs at such a high rate, not only how much better does that make this team, but how much easier does that make your job or the job of the entire bullpen?
Yeah, no, they're dialed in right now, so it's nice. It wasn't probably like that at all at the beginning of the year. I would be stressing, thinking I was going in all the way to the 7th, 8th inning, and then they would put up a 8 spot in the 8th inning, and then I can relax. But no, the bats have been getting hot for sure, and it's nice to see. And the bullpen, I think they've definitely found their role and know kind of what situation they'd be able to come in. And with the bats scoring runs and whatnot, it's just they're allowed to be comfortable in any situation, but it helps having those runs scored, no doubt.
Luke, going into Baylor Ballpark this weekend and getting to play that senior weekend series, the Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and I know the seniors will be honored, and it's the last time that you guys get to step out there at the ballpark. First and foremost, what does that mean to you to be able to go back out there one last time?
I mean, it's so special. I'm just going to try to enjoy every single second of it. And, even the batting practice, for many years was kind of just a drag, shagging balls a lot, just waiting for the hitters to be done. But, coming to this weekend, every time I step in the locker room, driving to the field, even just stepping on the field, I'm just going to enjoy literally every second of it. And, just think about all the memories back, even my freshman and sophomore year when I may have not been the same pitcher, but just being there with the incoming class that I came in the freshman year and with the guys I'm still here right now, I'm just going to enjoy every single second.
Luke, on top of that, you've got the home record of this team this year is astronomical. I mean, it's unbelievable what you guys have been able to do at Baylor Ballpark. What do you attribute that to? What gives this team such a boost when you're at home?
I mean, that's just something we always say to each other before, the opposing team comes into town, is that this is our house, this is our field, and we need to protect it. We kind of want to send a message to the opposing teams that come into Waco that, they're not looking forward to it. It's kind of an oh shoot moment. We got to go to Waco and play the Baylor Bears. And that was kind of the statement we tried to put in since the beginning against having that rough start. We had a lot of road games. But when it came to our Baylor Ballpark, we just try to protect it and dominate at home. And we've been able to mostly so far this season.
Luke, on top of that, you got Oklahoma this weekend, and that series, it starts tomorrow night. Huge conference implications on the line. I know you already talked about how you've got the game in front of you is what everyone's most worried about. You get Oklahoma at home where you're 22-4. It's the same OU team that Baylor lost to 9-3 earlier this season, but so much has changed since then. What is the message going into a 3-game series that's going to be absolutely crucial for this squad?
I mean, I hate to sound like a broken record and be cliche, but it's really just taking it one pitch at a time, not letting, having a bad pitch affect the next pitch. But we got to understand OU's trying to do the same thing as us. They're in a very similar situation as us right now. But we're at home, we're in Waco, and we need to take advantage to dominate at home.
And Luke, the crowd, let them out. Open it up. They've got 100% capacity this weekend at Baylor Ballpark. I mean, everybody will be able to be out there and have the place rocking. What's your message to the fans, man? I mean, you guys got to be wanting them to get out.
I mean, it's the last home weekend of the series. It's going to be, again, OU's in a very similar situation as us, just like OK State was, and those were 3 really good ball games. So it's going to be some good baseball played this weekend. And the energy is going to be very, very good in the dugout. I can tell you that right now with the seniors. And again, with the last 3 games at home, we're going to be creating our own energy, no doubt, on the ball field. But, it's always fun to have those fans there for us and, being loud.
I love it. Hopefully it'll be rocking again this weekend as this week rolls out and you guys have the last home series. And Luke, before I get you out of here, we're big fans of Coach Steve Rodriguez on this show, and you were in one of his first recruiting classes at Baylor. And to that point, I mean, he's just this California guy that's coming out from Pepperdine, coaching in Central Texas and trying to get guys to come play for him at Baylor. I mean, in a lot of ways, you took a chance to come to a program that was still trying to build back up from a couple of years removed from only winning, a handful of games. And now here you are on the cusp of making possibly the postseason again. What can you say about Coach Steve Rodriguez and what he's done in his time at Baylor University?
Yeah, I mean, it's something special, and he saw something in me that no other coach in the nation saw in me, obviously, again, them being the only one that took a chance on me. It's an extremely long story. I could probably take up the whole time in here talking about all the little details that allowed me to come out and play and be a part of this university. But long story short is they saw me throw to 9 batters and he took a chance on me. And that just shows that that's just one small example. He did turn around this ball club, no doubt. And it's special. It's so great to be a part of. And I'm so lucky to have him and Coach Strauss, mentor me and be able to turn me into the pitcher I am today.
I love it. Luke, before we get you out of here, we've got Bear Games questions of the day for you that we ask all of our callers and guests. And today's Bear Games question is, if you could take one Baylor program, I mean, any sport, any team, and take them all with you on vacation, flying first class, private jet, all expense paid, which program you take and which team are you taking and where are you going?
Wow. Okay. With the Baylor baseball team, or which one am I going a part of?
It is just you. You are alone, but then you get to choose you can choose baseball, who you're already around all the time, and maybe you want to go on a vacation with them, or you can be like, all right, national champion basketball, those guys can come on, or I don't know. I'm sure the song leaders, I guess that counts. Like you could go cheerleading team too. I wouldn't fault you for that.
I'm always on vacation with my team. I'm always having a great time. So if I had to take time away from them, that Baylor basketball team was so fun to watch. And it seems like they were just having so much fun, even, dominating in the championship game when millions of people are watching them. They're just still having the time of their lives. So it would be so fun to hang out with them. And I mean, I don't know really where we'd go, but wherever we would, I would be down to, because I would be so down to hang out with them. And they threw out one of the first pitches in one of these games, and that was good to talk to them a little bit about it, pick their brain about the whole process. So, yeah, I know that basketball team would be a great time to hang out with.
Baylor basketball team, where are you going with them? I mean, you got to we're going to the beach, we're going to New York, go to Canada, maybe a little a hunt.
Dang, I mean, I'm not a big hunter, but I guess we can go back to California. I mean, it's been a while since I've been to the beach, definitely. It's been a while since the cold quarantine back in the summer, but I'm down to go to somewhere tropical, somewhere hot, no doubt.
Taking the Baylor basketball team and going out to the beach. Luke, thanks so much for joining the show today. Congratulations so far on what you've done personally this season and as a team, the way that this group has really performed. But, the congratulations not quite all in order yet, because there's plenty still to be done. But thanks for coming on the show today, and best of luck this weekend against Oklahoma.
Absolutely. I appreciate it so much. Thank you.
Absolutely. Again, that was Luke Boyd, starting closer, I should say. Like, he is the best. He's the A1 closer for the Baylor program, who joined the show today. Luke Boyd, one of the best pitchers in the entire conference, coming on the show, joining us talking Baylor baseball. When we come back out of this break, Grayson Gruntafer joins the show to talk to us about Baylor football recruiting and a guy that's named Jacob Gall, Baylor's newest pickup out of the transfer portal from Buffalo. I'm Drake Toll. We are joined by Jack McKenzie and Andrew Robertson. Don't go anywhere. This is Up Tempo.
Elite 8 looks good on you, Baylor men's tennis. Michael Woodson and his number 1 boys are moving on with a rather decisive 4-1 victory over number 14 Ole Miss in the Sweet 16 on Monday. The green and gold dominated the doubles point with a combined score of 17-6 on all courts when doubles play ended. Baylor then battled out 3 matches in the singles, with Charlie Broom securing the deciding point for his team. The Bears now have 32 wins this season, the most since a title run in 2005. Their next match will be against number 7 TCU in the Elite 8 this Thursday. Follow @Baylor Tennis on Twitter for more updates. And welcome home Jacob Gall. Baylor football landed a commitment from the Buffalo grad transfer offensive lineman, who stands at 6'2" and 305 pounds. He was a part of an offensive line unit that allowed 0 sacks last season and is rated by Pro Football Focus as the top left guard in the country. He will be immediately eligible with 2 years to play in Waco. On the golf course, the Baylor men's team saw its season end in Stillwater yesterday with a top 5 finish in the regional. The top 4 advanced to the NCAA championships. It came down to literally 1 stroke as Arkansas Little Rock shot a 15 over while Baylor landed at 16 over for the match. Little Rock's entire team birdied the 18th hole to capture the victory. Elsewhere in the country, Colgate football coach Dan Hunt is leaving to, quote, address personal issues following an unspecified violation of university policy not involving students. Hunt had been the head coach since 2014 and worked with the program since 1995. And lastly, the Indiana football team has added Jaron Handy from the transfer portal. Handy played in 14 games for Auburn in the last 2 seasons, while former Southern Cal running back Stephen Carr tweeted that he will also be joining Tom Allen's squad in Bloomington. I'm Jack McKenzie in for Armstrong Sims, and that's all the news that is news in college sports. This has been Jack's Minute on SicEm365 Radio's Up Tempo.
Boozers is the wedding ring store and more. If you're ready to get engaged or already married and want to upgrade your wife's ring for a special anniversary, Boozers is the place to go. With the largest selection of premier quality diamond engagement rings and wedding rings in Central Texas. They have 7 cases with over 300 styles of rings from top designers like Natalie Kay. Choose from yellow, white, or rose gold, plus beautiful top quality loose diamonds. With an in-house jewelry, they can also custom make anything you want. Bring in a picture or drawing and let Boozers create your one-of-a-kind pendant or ring. They can even use some of your old gold and diamond jewelry to create something new. At Boozers, you'll find a great selection of quality timepieces, and Boozers is the place for expert watch maintenance and repairs, too. They specialize in expert Rolex watch repair for fine jewelry, watches, custom work, and more. Go to Boozers on Valley Mills and Lake Air Drive in Waco.
Boozers, the wedding ring store and more.
With so many companies and policies out there, it gets so confusing shopping for insurance, and I never know if I'm getting the policy that's right for me. Luckily, I met the team at the Nitchie Group Insurance Agency. With the Nitchie Group, you can go to one company and get access to coverage options from many insurance carriers, and you get to speak to a real person about your specific coverage needs. With the Nitchie Group, I know I'm getting the right coverage at the right price. If you need insurance, talk to the experts at the Nitchie Group at 1-800-258-8302.
One size fits all. That may be all right for an adjustable belt or cheap sunglasses, but when it comes to your financial needs, no one wants a one-size-fits-all strategy. Cam Heathcott, your Edward Jones financial advisor, knows that his most important goals are yours. That's why he takes the time to understand your needs, knowing you. That's how Edward Jones makes sense of investing. Cam Heathcott, covering Conroe and Houston, 936-756-7717 or cam.heathcott@edwardjones.com. Edward Jones, member SIPC.
It's time to fire up the grill, heat up the oven, or get that deep fryer going to enjoy the top quality products at Waco Custom Marketplace. Order 30-pound sacks of live crawfish by 6 on Wednesday. Pick up on Friday afternoon after 2 or Saturday. Enjoy the weekend. 30-pound sacks of live crawfish available right now for $4.25 a pound. Find all the crawfish boil ingredients you need, including red beef potatoes, sausage, corn cobbets, and Louisiana boil seasoning. Make your order for live crawfish by Wednesday at 6. Pick up on Friday after 2 or all day Saturday, and enjoy the weekend. Waco Custom Marketplace, your home for fresh baked kolache, cinnamon rolls every day. Butcher shop to cut your steaks the way you want. Fresh seafood, summer sausage, boudin, house cured and smoked bacon, spices, seasonings, soup mixes, and more, and weekly gift boxes for any occasion. Waco Custom Marketplace, 425 Lake Air Drive in Waco, or WacoCustomMarketplace.com.
Alan Samuels is celebrating Jeep Freedom Days. It's an exciting time for a new Jeep Grand Cherokee Laredo with up to $37.50 in values or 0% for 72 months. The new Jeep Cherokee Laredo is built tough, and with the Jeep Freedom Days going on now, it's a great time for a new Jeep SUV. Alan Samuels, the award-winning customer service Central Texas dealer. The best place to get your next SUV. Located at 201 West Loop 340, Alan Samuels is your friend in the car business.
Come by, let's be friends.
Welcome back to Up Tempo on SicEm365 Radio.
No capes. Do you remember Thunderhead? Tall, storm powers. Nice man. Good with kids.
Listen. Call us on the Impact Health Labs caller line at 254-339-1122.
Dyna guy, snag on takeoff. Splashdown, sucked into a vortex. No capes.
Here's Drake Toll and Armstrong Sims.
Welcome back into the Petty Clinic Low T Beers Den. Drake Toll joining you from remote in Bologna, Arkansas, the little metropolis, central part of the state. And now joined by Grayson Gruntafer, who's not in Waco. I mean, this is an international show today. I mean, we're going all around. We had Luke Boyd from Waco. We've got you from Dallas, Fort Worth, Austin? Yeah, Austin, yeah. Grayson from Austin. We've got Coach Michael Woodson will be joining us this afternoon from Orlando. So everybody's everywhere. But Grayson, man, it's been a big week. I'd say big 24 hours really for Baylor football in general. And dating back to when we talked last week, so much has happened, so much has changed. And sounds like Baylor's gotten their guy on the offensive line out of the transfer portal.
Yeah, definitely. And Jacob Gall out of Buffalo. I mean, this is a big time pickup right here, Drake. I mean, we've talked about how they needed to add some talent on the offensive line. They had to, and they were going to. I mean, it was just a fact. They were going to go out and add an offensive lineman, and I think they're not done yet. I know they got Gall, but I still think there's names out there that they're going to continue to go after. But this was a huge one this week, actually yesterday, when it officially dropped that he was going to be a Baylor Bear, and now he's got 10 days to get to the campus from Cincinnati. He was moving out his final stuff when I talked to him today. He was driving back from Buffalo to Cincinnati. So he's got a lot going on right now.
Grayson, what is that timeline? If you're looking at where the Baylor football coaches want to be with bringing guys in, I mean, you're looking at summer 1, summer 2, things like that they've got going on with not just workouts, but classes as well, and getting those guys enrolled in those summer classes. When you're looking at Baylor going into the transfer portal, what is that timeline for when they want to bring another guy in if they do?
I mean, they would like to do it within these next 10, 11. It's really they would like to have everyone on campus when the players are supposed to, which is over that weekend. And then, of course, workouts in summer 1, the classes start as well. It becomes a lot trickier when you have to bring in a guy in the middle of summer. I think they would if they found the right guy, but I think ideally you would want to get this done in the next 10 days. I know Jacob told me he was thinking about waiting another 5 days, but then just decided that Baylor was the spot for him and decided to do it a little bit earlier. So there's still a long way to go. I mean, we still got 10 days to figure out what, they got 10 days to figure out what they want to do. And so there's still some time.
Grayson, along with Gall announcing he would come to Baylor, committing to Baylor, really, what kind of win is that recruiting-wise for Dave Aranda, Eric Mateos, and Jeff Grimes? I mean, he's, as we've seen, rated the number 1 left guard in the country. Who else was going after Gall? Is this a game where Baylor put up with the big dogs and won?
Yeah, so I think everyone was asking that, and it's hard with the transfer portal. Some guys will post their offers, but most do not. They usually are very quiet in that regard. They just kind of go through their recruitment and pick the schools. But Jacob was really honest with me. He did tell me that he probably had 5-6 offers, but you also have to remember he kind of basically turned down communication from other schools as well. But I can tell you Big 10, Pac-12 type schools were going after him. So this was a win against Power 5 schools, and also it was just kind of a win for Baylor from a recruiting perspective. Eric Mateos built such a good relationship with him, and honestly, that after him as their priority target really made this decision very easy for him, and was another reason why he decided not to really stay in contact with some of the programs that were just kind of hanging around a little bit.
Grayson, on that, when I look at a guy like Gall, I'm seeing that 90 grade that he's gotten and being the top left guard in the country. Walk me through that rating, because when I think top left guard in the country, I think, all right, which SEC school does he play for? Maybe one of those power Big 10 schools, an ACC, Big 12, probably not Pac-12. But along with all of that, I'm seeing Buffalo. This guy's the number one rated guard in the country from Buffalo. Where does that assessment come from? Is that maybe inflated, or is that a true ranking for Jacob Gall?
Yeah, so I do want to pump the brakes a little bit. I mean, obviously that's an amazing ranking and all of that, but he did play at Buffalo. He did offensive line who had 3 all-conference players next to him. So, I mean, they were loaded. They were really, really good. I think they lost 1 game. I think they went 6-1. So, I mean, they were dynamic, very good on offense. But I will say, when you have a lot of talent next to you, that really helps everyone on the offensive line. I would also say, yes, his competition was not Alabama. His competition was not Ohio State. So yes, that does affect things. But the grade does come from the fact that he put himself in the right positions more times than not to either move people in the run game or just be effective in pass protection. So he did a lot of things really, really well that went into that grade. And really the biggest thing is all positioning and what you did in your individual matchups and your team matchups that allowed your offense to move efficiently.
Grayson, Jake Burton is a guy who's now, right there in the pro football ranks and tested all that out in the last couple of months. When he came to Baylor, it was so late in the process, and it was all right, this guy was good at UCLA. He's got a legit shot to be good at Baylor and help anchor the offensive line, and it didn't really pan out. There was never that moment where you're like, wow, well, that really worked out. It really went well for Baylor. What is the difference in a guy like Jacob Gall compared to a Jake Burton where you think, oh, man, he's going to be really good, and you just don't quite see it?
Yeah, so, I'm definitely not going to put it all on Jake Burton. I actually think most of it, and this is just a personal opinion, I think we saw what happened last year. Last year was a little bit of a train wreck offensively, and I would say that Wickline to Mateos is a huge upgrade. I would say that Fedora to Grimes is a huge upgrade. And so for me, that's where my confidence is with this move. I think Jacob Gall's a great player. I think Jake Burton was a very good player. I mean, he was picked up by the New York Giants, so he's in the league. He can play, make no mistake about that. I mean, if you look at the other Baylor offensive linemen in the past, many of them did not even get picked up. So he had the talent. It just didn't all come together from a coaching staff perspective, in my opinion. So I have a lot more confidence in what Mateos and Grimes are going to do. I think that another big key and big positive is the fact that at Buffalo, they ran a similar version of the wide zone. I wouldn't call it exactly the same, but I would say that the run scheme is going to be very similar. And I think that comfortability will be big for him. And I also think people are missing on the fact that this guy was a center in high school. He was also the backup center all 4 years at Buffalo. And the only reason he played guard was because of an injury to a guy and the fact that they had a veteran center in Mike Nowitzki, who's one of the biggest names in the transfer portal right now. So, I mean, he feels very comfortable. He actually told me he feels more comfortable at center than left guard. And coming off the season he just had, I think that's a pretty big statement.
Grayson, with that, Grant Miller. I mean, I know that there's been the conversation of Grant Miller now being center for Baylor because they need a guy. Like we have a really good offensive lineman. We got to convert him to a center. What could this move mean for Grant Miller?
Yeah, so, I look at size a lot with offensive linemen, and it usually tells a story. And for me, Jacob Gall is 6'2", 305 pounds. That is a center. That is a center. That is prototypical center height. Obviously could be taller, could be a little bit bigger for sure. But 305 is not typically a guard. Whereas you look at Grant Miller, 6'4", I think he's hovering around 315 now. So he has a little more size to play that guard position. I know he came to Baylor. I think you're just about, and if it's better 2 minutes to go with.
Grayson, I think we're losing a little bit of connection there with you trying to get that back. I think we should. Hopefully we can see you now, but it got you a little bit better. I know it's reloading. And Grayson, I don't know if you can hear me, like 3 fingers up or something. You got me okay?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Beautiful. I think we can hear you now.
I got you.
With that, the dynamic of this offensive line next year, when you think about your before I get into that even, you talked about the wide zone at Buffalo and the fact that, Jacob Gall really knows basically the offense Baylor is going to be in next season and is used to it already. Along with that, JD made the point a couple weeks ago how he didn't think Baylor should get a transfer offensive lineman, which I wholeheartedly disagreed with, but it was because you'd have to teach a scheme, teach an offense, teach a guy. But it seems like Jacob Gall is going to fit in perfect when it comes to really knowing what he's getting into scheme-wise.
Yeah, definitely. And I think that's a big positive, not only for Baylor, but also for him. And he mentioned that was a huge part in his decision going to Baylor, is just how comfortable he was going to be with the offense and the scheme. And after talking to Mateos and Grimes and Aranda, he felt very comfortable with Baylor. And honestly, based on what I heard, I mean, this really was not a tough decision for him. It was I would honestly say the tougher decision was between going back to Buffalo or going to Baylor. I think that was in his mind probably the tougher decision, because it took him a while to enter after Leipold made the move to Kansas.
And then Grayson, when you think about the structure of the offensive line going into next season as it sits right now, with your now Jacob Gall, you've got, we've already talked about, Grant Miller, what he brings to the table. Those two guys are obviously the names that for me stick out the most. When you think about putting together a starting five, obviously it looks better now with Jacob Gall, but it sounds like there's still a lot of work to do.
I would say that. I mean, the positions that I see are pretty. So I guess in my opinion, Connor Galvin will be the starter at left tackle. I think that Jacob Gall and Grant Miller will be starters. It's just a matter of which position. Right now, I think Gall's going to, and I think Grant Miller's going to be one of the guards, probably the left. It's two positions kind of open, and kind of is a kind word for it, because nobody has really laid claim to either of those spots. I would say if you're starting today, right tackle would either be Gavin Byers or Elijah Ellis. I would probably go with Byers right now. Young guys there. And then at right guard, I mean, I told the guys on the 3 to 6 show this. I mean, you could literally throw 3-4 names in a hat and just kind of pick, because that's what it was all spring between Xavier Newman, Giancarlo Valentin, Khalil Keith, Mose Jeffrey. I mean, who wants it? I mean, whoever wants it has a great shot at getting it. The problem is Baylor might bring in another guy to compete with them and take that spot. So there's a lot to through still. I could see them taking another interior offensive lineman. I know a big one entered the portal today that they're probably going to have some interest in. And then, of course, right tackle, which is a position I still feel like they need to address.
Grayson, with that, I mean, as the line starts to come together, you said there's already 3 or 4 names in the hat for that other guard spot. If you bring somebody in that's starting caliber to Baylor, I mean, is there a need for that? Is the competition going to drive those guys to the point where they can perform at a high rate in the Big 12, or does Baylor need one more to bolster the offensive line?
I think they need one more. I would go with right tackle. I think that's the position that I would address immediately as the top priority. But truthfully, if you can go into the portal and find a guy who has 1 year play immediately, I would probably do it. I mean, I don't have a whole lot of confidence in that group quite yet. I just haven't seen it consistently enough. And I think that a guy like Mose Jeffrey is maybe 1 year away. I think and he might even have to play tackle some. So, I mean, there's a lot of factors that go into this, but if you can find a guy who is a high quality individual and a high quality player, I think you have to make that move, especially if it's just for 1 year.
So, Grayson, you have followed the transfer portal and really recruiting closer than I would say anyone. I'm going to say it, anyone. With that, when you give me a blank, tie it all with a bow assessment of Jacob Gall's coming to Baylor, where do you rate Jacob Gall as a player, how he'll fit in? And where do you rate this from a Baylor standpoint, thinking about coaches, recruiting, them bringing him in when you compare him to others in the transfer portal?
Yeah. Transfer portal. I think that you have to start with the guys that they missed on. Drake, can you hear me now?
I can hear you now. Start that thought over for me if you will.
Perfect. Yes, I will. So if you're looking through the portal, they obviously had a lot of names that came up, and I actually went through a little list. I made a list for tomorrow. I have an article that's coming up on the website of just the guys that they missed on and where those guys ended up. It's just crazy how much talent was in the portal up to this point this year. Every single target Baylor went at
One more time, Grayson.
They really went hard in the transfer portal.
There you go. Now you're back.
You got me? Okay.
I got you.
Okay, cool. So I got who Baylor went after, guys who they really had a lot of interest in. And, for Baylor, as far as what they needed, it's an A+ because they had to get an offensive lineman from the portal. It was an absolute necessity. It had to happen. As far as rating him with the guys that they went after at the guard position, he's right up near the top. I have two guys that I think are a little bit ahead of him. Eric Wilson, who I don't know if you remember him. He was the Harvard transfer. He ended up at Penn State. I have him graded a little bit higher than Gall. And then he was really the main one because the other ones are tackles. And to me, tackles are slightly more valuable. I usually hold them a little bit higher. But yeah, outside of Eric Wilson, Gall is right there with him. And that tells you right there that this is an A pickup, A+ pickup, however you want to describe it, for where he rated compared to the guys in the portal. And then, of course, the pickup for Baylor. I mean, this is a home run. And the fact that he knows this wide zone scheme already, I think could make this an even bigger deal. And just talking to him, I think he's going to instill a lot of confidence on this Baylor offensive line. And he's played with a group that really came together. And I think he's going to try to do that at Baylor. And I'm really excited to see what he can bring to the table from a confidence standpoint, from a team standpoint, and from a talent standpoint.
Grayson, outside of the transfer portal and being able to bring in Jacob Gall, you got the commitment of Richard Reese to come to Baylor. And I don't know your assessment, or my assessment is he's the fastest man that has ever lived. All the videos and things that I've seen on Twitter out there, I mean, this guy has got legit speed. And is this Baylor's answer at running back in 2022?
Yeah, he is the answer for the class in 2022 for sure. And, it's interesting because when I see his film, I actually don't see the fastest guy on the field. He's fast, obviously, but I think the bigger thing that I see with him is really two things. He has an ability to put his foot in the ground and attack holes when he sees them. So he doesn't bounce plays the outside. He's not trying to go LaDainian Tomlinson on you and get, run around guys because he's just so fast. He finds the hole and then explodes through the hole, which is really, really something this offense needs. And then the other part of his game that I love is his closing speed. So what I mean by that is, he hits the hole hard. And then he's fast through, don't get me wrong, but it's those last 10 yards. He just has a great ability to run by people. And that's a credit to, in my opinion, his 200-meter time. He'd actually have the second highest 200-meter time on the current roster for Baylor running backs. The only one he'd be behind is Treston Ebner, which kind of makes sense. So very fast in that regard, that closing speed. But like I said, they need guys who are going to attack the line of scrimmage, and that's exactly what he's going to do. Very big pickup, offensive MVP, 2 straight years in his district, and a guy who has just piled up numbers at Belleville. And as Craig mentioned, he's the bell cow from Belleville. I mean, it's a great line, and it's exactly what he is.
Grayson, when you analyze him and that 3-star ranking that he's got and what he's done at Belleville, his numbers are unbelievable. You look at a guy like Reese and what he brings to the program. Is he a starting caliber running back when he gets to that senior season at Baylor?
Yeah, I think he could be sooner than that. I think he'll probably redshirt his first year. Not probably. He almost definitely will. Retro freshman year probably won't. But that redshirt sophomore season, I could see him getting carries. It's just going to be tough, because the guy ahead of him that I really, really like, Jordan Jenkins is coming in this offseason. He's a guy. It's quite battle, and I'm excited for going forward. I think it's going to be a really talented one.
Grayson, with that, I'm looking up and down the commit list of 2022 and what Baylor's already built up there. 11 guys now, Reese being the 11th. When you rank, 1 through 11, really, where does Reese, in your opinion, kind of fall amongst the recruits that Baylor's gotten so far out of 2022?
Ooh, that's a very good question. So I pretty much have all the guys ranked according to our SicEm365 rankings, and I gave Reese an 88 is where I have him currently at, which puts him right around tied with Bryce Simpson, Zach Pyron, Carmelo Jones, Kelsey Johnson. They're all tied for third. The top two on my list right now are Cedric Roberts, the big defensive lineman from Pflugerville-Hendrickson, and then Kyan Roberts-Day, the 4-star out of Missouri, Joplin, Missouri. Those two guys, in my opinion, are a little bit above the rest right now, but there will be movement. As I get to see these guys in person at camps and get to see senior film, of course, there will be movement there. But right now, I got him as an 88, which is very, very good. High 3-star. That's right where you want to be your year.
Grayson, I saw a few tweets out there over this past week that were centered around Zach Pyron, and it was the, Jeff Grimes and company, they took a shot on somebody, and maybe they found a diamond in the rough in Zach Pyron and getting him to come to Baylor and commit to Baylor. Really, where did that hype come from, and is it warranted?
Yeah, it definitely is warranted. So it came from the Elite 11 camp. Huge. It's highly acclaimed for quarterbacks. It goes on every single year. Of course, the goal is to get an Elite 11 finals invite, which currently Baylor has 3 guys on their roster who have gotten that invite: Jacob Zeno, Gary Bohannon, and of course, Kyron Drones last year. And Kyron is actually the only one who made the final 11 of the group so far. So that's the goal for Zach Pyron. He went out there, he competed, and the big name that he competed against was Ty Simpson, who's the Alabama commit, the 5-star. Listen, I'm not going to throw shade at Ty Simpson. That guy is insanely talented, and if Baylor could have gotten him, they would have gotten him too. He got offers from everybody. But Pyron went out there and held his own. And for a guy who was an 85 rated 3-star, that just wasn't expected by a lot of these recruiting guys. And, I have him as an 88, which I think is pretty fair. When you look at his offer list and then the talent level that he played against his first 2 years, but this third year going into his senior year, he seems to have really risen in his game and his production. He showed up 6'3", 218 pounds at this camp. He continues to look more and more like Sam Ehlinger, except a little bit taller. And it's very, very interesting to see. He continues to make throws and impress people. And that's what he did this weekend. He competed, made all the throws. And at the end of the day, I think there's a pretty good shot that he's going to get that Elite 11 invite, which is a huge deal. And then he can go try to put on a show at the Elite 11 finals and continue rising his ranking. And it's a huge deal. It's an absolutely huge deal to have the national attention like that. And also he let me know he will be early enrolling. So big news there for Baylor as well.
Wow. Bring it on with Zach Pyron coming in, I guess, next January. And Grayson, when I look at programs like Oklahoma and Alabama, there's typically a quarterback in waiting. You don't usually see a quarterback battle, at least we haven't in the last decade or so, maybe once at Alabama. And I know I'm comparing huge programs, but looking at Baylor, now you got your Zeno, Bohannon, Shapen, Drones, add Zach Pyron into the mix. And even there was the walk-on from, I'm forgetting.
CJ Rogers out of Argyle.
Right, CJ Rogers. You've got, that's 6 names, and then Bass, I guess, 2, 7 names. Give you 7 guys that are all in the quarterback room or will be in the quarterback room over the course of the next 2 years. Is that too much? What's your, it's a weird problem to have, but what do you do when you have that many guys and only one can be a starter?
Yeah, so there's going to be, in my opinion, 2 things that either happen. Either you're going to see attrition on the Baylor roster after this fall at the quarterback position, or you will see them not take a quarterback in the 2023 class, because that's just too many guys to have on the roster. There's a chance CJ Rogers gets and he does. I don't see any way you could take a quarterback in the 2023 class. So there's a lot to figure out there. I think we're going to know a lot more after we see who wins the quarterback job this fall. And that's where I think a lot of the answers will come. And that's where we're going to have to find out a lot about this team. I will say, though, as the offensive line gets better and better, I think we're going to get a chance to see this quarterback battle heat up even more. I think it's going to be a very interesting one that will carry up until the first game of the year, probably.
Grayson, outside of that, I saw another blurb of 2022, just kind of a splash of 2022 offers that Baylor put out this last week across Twitter since the last time we talked even. And anything there you kind of want to touch on or that we need to know here in recruiting when it comes to the high school ranks?
Yeah, it's actually, really early in a lot of the recruitments for some of the guys that they put out offers to. I would say the main one that I know they put out an offer to was Alessandro Lorenzetti, which was he was a big man out of Connecticut, 6'6", 275. It's interesting to see them go out of the state and put out an offer like that, but they need offensive linemen. So they're going to go offer anyone who's worthy of one. He has 2 official visits already scheduled. I believe those 2 are to Indiana and Oklahoma State or no, I'm sorry. It's Virginia Tech and Michigan State are the 2 that he's got official visits scheduled to. Interestingly enough, though, he does not have one scheduled for the 25th through the 27th. Now, that is one of Baylor's official visit dates. So there could be something going on there where he does take a visit. Obviously, that would give them another name to keep an eye on moving forward. But outside of him, I don't know. There wasn't a whole lot of movement, I wouldn't say, in the 2022 class just yet. I think we're going to know more probably in the next couple weeks as official visits start getting lined up and they start to get to know the coaching staff even more. But Lorenzetti was probably the big one, and he does have interest in Baylor. He said it was a huge offer, mentioned that a visit could be possible. So we'll see what happens. Being from Connecticut, that's not normally an area that Baylor recruits very, very well outside of when Matt Rule was the coach.
Maybe that's the one, Grayson. Maybe that's the one. The Connecticut's new pipeline state. If you can find enough guys out of there, looking across and kind of away from football and recruiting, tennis, man. Men's tennis. We got Coach Michael Woodson coming up here and Alex Gruskin, national analyst, joining us here in a second. Baylor tennis is rolling right now.
Yeah, they absolutely are. And they've been fun to watch. Michael Woodson, what else can you say about that guy? What a year that they've been able to have. They're just so solid, such a deep roster. You look at them in those 5-6 matchups. They are just nearly unbeatable there. So it's been really, really cool to watch them continue to grow throughout the season. This is a big one, though. Taking on TCU, probably your biggest rival. This is going to be fun to watch tomorrow. I'm excited. I think that Baylor's excited. I know that the score's 2-1, I believe. I think TCU got him in indoor. Baylor got him the 2 times in outdoor, but they were pretty good matchups, pretty much all 3 of those times. So I expect this one to be a good one, but I think Baylor comes out on top 4-2. Then I think they take on Tennessee in the semifinals. And I think they're going to win that one, and then they're going to knock off Florida in the national championship. I think Baylor's going to run the table, and Michael Woodson, man, if he wins a national championship year 1, wow. What else could you say about the guy?
Jeez, bring home another national championship. Keeping the roster together with coaching turnover and being able to build something like this is wild for Michael Woodson in year number 1 as the head man. I say year number 1. He's been the head guy for like 2 weeks. Yeah. And he's already on the cusp of a possible national championship. But Grayson, outside of the men's golf team, man, I don't know if you saw that, but they've got the lead. 18th hole comes up. University of Arkansas, Little Rock. Every guy on the team birdies the 18th hole. Every single guy birdies the 18th hole. Baylor golf 1 spot out of going to the NCAA championships after losing the Stillwater Regional to, out of nowhere, Arkansas, Little Rock.
Yeah, I saw the final score. I did not know how it happened. So that's pretty crazy to see how it ended up. I was really bummed to see Baylor not make it to the national championship. It was such an up and down year for that team. They just started so high, it felt like. Same with the women's golf team. They started extremely hot as well. Bummed to see this happen, but hey, it's golf. It's golf, and golf is a tricky game, that's for sure.
It's golf. Anything can happen in golf. And Grayson, last but not least, before we get you out of here, Lollapalooza just announced its lineup going into July 29th to August 1st is when it'll happen in Grant Park in Chicago. And Surfaces, Forest, they're going to be there, Lollapalooza. What do you say we get tickets and take a little SicEm365 trip on the company's ticket to Lollapalooza?
Oh man, if Colt is down for that, I'm definitely ready to go up to Lollapalooza. I was hoping Surfaces would actually come to ACL coming up at the in October. But yeah, that's really cool. I know Forrest is a grade younger than me. He was actually my wife's grade at Baylor, but yeah, a lot of my friends know him, and I mean, they've really blown up. So really cool. Hopefully they come to ACL as well. That would be a lot of fun for sure.
Oh, I hope so. Him and JD are borderline roommates, I think. So apparently Forrest listens to the show too. So maybe, hey, we give him some free plug and shout out there with Surfaces. But Grayson, Bear Games question of the day today. You can take one Baylor team, one program on vacation with you. Which program are you taking and where are you taking them?
Wow. Oh, that's a good one. I think I'm going to go with football. And the reason I know everyone's like, oh, how basic, whatever.
So many guys too. Where are you? How?
I know, but Drake, you have to remember, man, when you're covering recruiting, I know those guys a little bit more.
Yeah.
And so that's been that would be a big part of it, is that I know a lot of the guys already on the roster. Yes, it'd be a lot of people, but man, would that be a good time? I mean, that would be a good time, a crazy time, lots of guys there. But yeah, I'm going football. I think that would be a lot of fun. What did you pick? How'd you answer this?
I still haven't gone yet. I think the song leader team is a pretty easy answer, or just the all girl cheer team, but I'll probably avoid those just for being cliche. Where are you taking the football team with you?
Ooh, that's a good question. I've been kind of craving a beach. So how about Hawaii? Because I don't think not many people have been to Hawaii in a while. So how about Hawaii? That's going to be an expensive trip.
Hawaii with the Baylor football team. I'm sure the ops guys will help cover it for you. Hopefully so, at least. Grayson, thanks for coming on the show today, as always, for the big board. And pleasure talking recruiting. Outside of that, golf and a little bit of tennis as well. But Jacob Gall coming to Waco. Thanks for helping us break it down.
Absolutely, Drake. Big time pickup for the Bears.
Boom. I love it. Always a pleasure, Grayson, and look forward to doing it again next week.
Absolutely. Let's do it.
Yeah. All right. That was Grayson Grundafer of SicEm365.com talking some recruiting, talking Baylor and Baylor, what they were able to put together with Jacob Gall committing from Buffalo. When we come back, we're joined on the show by a couple of guys who are pretty big in the tennis world. The first one being Michael Woodson. He's a head coach at Baylor University, and his guys have made it all the way now to the Elite Eight. They'll play TCU tomorrow with a shot to go to the Final Four in the national semifinal. Not only that, though, Alex Gruskin joins us from the Great Shot Pod, maybe the top tennis podcast in all of the collegiate sport. Alex Gruskin, Michael Woodson. We got a roundtable coming up. You don't want to miss it. I'm Drake Toll. We got Jack McKenzie and Andrew Robertson back home in the studio. When we come back, it's Michael Woodson of Baylor Tennis and Alex Gruskin, a national tennis analyst. Don't go anywhere. This is Up Tempo.
Elite Eight looks good on you, Baylor men's tennis. Michael Woodson and his number 1 boys are moving on with a rather decisive 4-1 victory over number 14 Ole Miss in the Sweet 16 on Monday. The green and gold dominated the doubles point with a combined score of 17-6 on all courts when doubles play ended. Baylor then battled out 3 matches in the singles, with Charlie Broom securing the deciding point for his team. The Bears now have 32 wins this season, the most since a title run in 2005. Their next match will be against number 7 TCU in the Elite Eight this Thursday. Follow @Baylor Tennis on Twitter for more updates. And welcome home Jacob Gall. Baylor football landed a commitment from the Buffalo grad transfer offensive lineman, who stands at 6'2" and 305 pounds. He was a part of an offensive line unit that allowed 0 sacks last season and is rated by Pro Football Focus as the top left guard in the country. He will be immediately eligible with 2 years to play in Waco. On the golf course, the Baylor men's team saw its season end in Stillwater yesterday with a top 5 finish in the regional. The top 4 advanced to the NCAA championships. It came down to literally 1 stroke as Arkansas Little Rock shot a 15 over while Baylor landed at 16 over for the match. Little Rock's entire team birdied the 18th hole to capture the victory. Elsewhere in the country, Colgate football coach Dan Hunt is leaving to, quote, address personal issues following an unspecified violation of university policy not involving students. Hunt had been the head coach since 2014 and worked with the program since 1995. And lastly, the Indiana football team has added Jaron Handy from the transfer portal. Handy played in 14 games for Auburn in the last 2 seasons, while former Southern Cal running back Stephen Carr tweeted that he will also be joining Tom Allen's squad in Bloomington. I'm Jack McKenzie in for Armstrong Sims, and that's all the news that is news in college sports. This has been Jack's Minute on SicEm365 Radio's Up Tempo.
With more than 160,000 alumni worldwide and counting, the Baylor family is growing. And through the university's expanded Baylor alumni program, the family is growing closer. With hundreds of local volunteers planning events in cities and towns around the country, you can gather with fellow Bears no matter where you are. So, get connected, get something started, get involved, and make plans to get together with Baylor alumni. Visit us at baylor.edu/alumni.
Waco Regional Tennis and Fitness was built to help give you a chance to enjoy elite tennis facilities and also remain fit or reshape your body. Now Waco Regional Tennis and Fitness has gone through its own physical changes. There are 7 large flat screens stretched across the main and improved weight room with Wi-Fi available and their own app to enjoy news, business, weather, or sports channels. The beautiful sound of active treadmills and elliptical machines, group exercise classes throughout each day, a new ballet bar for bar classes, a new look lounge and bar with beer and wine with more large flat screens available. Touchless water fountains outside each spacious men's and women's locker rooms, showers, sauna, and whirlpool. Upgraded PA system throughout the world-class tennis courts and lessons for adults and juniors. I promise you'll look and feel better. You just need to walk through the front door. Also, Waco Regional Tennis and Fitness with personal trainers Christy London and Randall Corley. 40-plus group exercise classes, including twice-a-week boot camp. So start today, not tomorrow, at Waco Regional Tennis and Fitness on Lakeshore Drive in Waco.
After my first car accident, I feared the biggest damage would be to my wallet. I expected a mountain of bills and a long, drawn-out process. But my Texas Farm Bureau insurance agent was there when I needed her and helped me get back on my feet and in my car in no time. Instead of a hassle, I got reassurance and a quick recovery.
Stop by and see our agents at one of our 3 McLennan County locations.
Coverage and discounts are subject to qualifications and policy terms and may vary by situation.
Let Camille Johnson Realtors guide you seamlessly through the process of buying your dream home or selling your current one. Commercial, farm and ranch, or residential, Camille Johnson Realtors can smoothly and successfully lead you through any transaction. With a team of 28 experienced agents who are excited about serving you, Camille Johnson Realtors services the entire greater Waco area. If you're in the market to buy or sell, contact Camille Johnson Realtors, 104 Midway Center in Woodway, or find them online at www.camillejohnson.com. Camille Johnson Realtors, elegant, charming, warm. Welcome home.
Stepping into a new pair of boots is great, but stepping into the boots of a U.S. Army officer can also add confidence and leadership skills to your son or daughter's career path. There are more than 150 occupational specialties to help them find the best fit for their future. See all the things your son or daughter can achieve in our boots at GoArmy.com. U.S. Army Waco Recruiting Company, 254-598-8131 or 254-776-1543.
At Marco's Pizza, get craveable pizza made the Italian way with dough made from scratch, an original sauce recipe, 3 fresh signature cheeses, and premium toppings you love, served hot and safe. Right now, you can get unlimited medium one-topping pizzas for just $6.99 each. Why stop at just one? Order with your app or at marcos.com for curbside, carryout, or delivery today. Marco's, pizza lovers get it.
I got breaking news here. We got Western Athletic Conference just announced they're adding several schools.
The WAC.
The WAC.
Okay. Welcome back to Up Tempo on SicEm365 Radio.
I think Coach Gundy would be like my guy that I would just like just a hair. Yeah. I just want to be able to see it flow when I kind of slam his arm down.
Here's Drake Toll.
Welcome back to the Petty Clinic Low T Bears Den, remote from the metropolis of Valonia, Arkansas, joined today by somebody that, well, we've seen a time or two. It's Michael Woodson, the Baylor men's tennis coach, and somebody we haven't seen yet, some new blood with the blue blood. It's Alex Gruskin, a national tennis analyst. Coach tells me the best national tennis analyst out there. Coach Woodson, congratulations on the win against Ole Miss on Monday, knocking them off to make the Elite Eight. I mean, another domino falls for you guys here in the postseason.
Yeah, we're certainly really excited, to be here in Orlando to get through that one. It wasn't easy. I thought we came out, played some great doubles, and really struggled at the beginning of singles. I think it's a different facility, different feel. The environment, was something that we had to get used to, I felt like, on all of the courts. And, credit to the guys, when we really needed to, they stepped up in a lot of places to get the job done. And really, if we had played it out, I felt like could have been a dominant 6-1.
Well, we're doing something different today. We're bouncing off a round table. I got Coach Woodson, like we said, and then Alex Gruskin, national analyst. So I'll throw a couple questions to Alex. He'll get back to Coach Woodson. We'll just go around. Alex, though, from your perspective, I know you told me that you really didn't think Baylor had a chance to beat Ole Miss, and it probably would go pretty quickly. I guess your assessment was wrong in the end.
Well, Coach Woodson said I'm the best analyst in the nation. Apparently I am not, according to those predictions. But no, I mean, look, I know you're first of all, thank you for having me. Of course, in the first 3 seconds, I am so envious of your voice. Like, that is the ideal voice for radio, let me just say. But no, I mean, look, we were joking beforehand. If you guys have seen the Key and Peele skit where Michael Key is the translator, I'm going to be Coach Woodson's translator. What he actually just said is, yeah, look, we knew we were going to kick their butts, and we kicked their butts. That's what we expected to do. We wanted to come out and execute. The doubles point so important, and then no one's beaten us 4, 5, 6. And look, for these Baylor Bears to have Nick Stakoyak, who I affectionately call Nicky, and to have Charlie Broom and Spencer Furman, who have all played #1 singles in some of the best conferences in college tennis, and to have them at the bottom of your lineup, there's a reason these Baylor Bears are the #2 overall seed. There's a reason they're 32-4 now on the season. And talking to Coach Woodson, and I'll throw this back to you, I feel like the biggest unknown was the conditions, right? Just getting comfortable, getting acclimated in Orlando, because if your team is healthy, if your team's playing your best, you guys can beat anyone, right?
For sure. I feel like, I feel like we don't have to worry about hoping that the other team doesn't play well, that we need something to go wrong for the other team in order to advance. And I feel like that's a really good feeling. We certainly learned a lot yesterday, and you love to have that opportunity to kind of feel like things weren't great in certain areas. That there's a lot to be taken from the match that we can improve on in the next one and still get through, still win. So I felt like we certainly learned a lot. We had a really productive meeting last night as a team. I thought the guys did a great job throughout that, and I'm sure we're going to be better off as a result on Thursday.
To translate that again for you, that one means, look, we should have won 4-0. I'm a little disappointed we dropped the point. So, yeah, I reamed them out for 2 hours because we have national championship aspirations. But, no, I mean, yeah, the guys were incredible. I was fortunate enough to be on the broadcast for the match. And, again, in particular, and I apologize, I'm ruining the segment here right away. That's what I do. Plug at Cracked Rackets, at Great Shot Pod. But, for your team, Coach, just – to have the super seniors at the bottom of your lineup, to have that sort of experience, are there times, and I say this lovingly because I know how effective of a coach you are, let me make that clear, but is there times you just feel like a glorified chaperone out there, that the guys, they know what they're doing, right? And you're just getting them from point A to point B?
You would laugh if you knew what I was dealing with during that match. It had nothing to do with tennis. And certainly, that's a lot of credit to these guys. I mean, and honestly, the great part about it is they've put in the work. They've done what they needed to do off the court. They've got the experience from on the court in big matches to where we really are just, hopefully putting ourselves out of a job and just trying not to mess it up. I feel like at this stage, as coaches, you're trying to build confidence. You're trying to take pressure off. And really we can only do damage at this point. And that's not just us. That's all the coaches left in this tournament.
Coach, on top of that, I'm looking up and down what you were able to do, not just against Ole Miss, but it reminded me a little bit of that TCU match in the Big 12 championship tournament where the singles point was really hairy early. You just didn't know how your singles players would go across the board. And what I point to, I see 36 matches that your team has played this season compared to Ole Miss, who was just in their 24th. That experience in seeing that many different scenarios, that many different teams this season, how does that give you an added boost in the postseason?
We've legitimately seen almost everything at this point. I keep saying that, and then we kind of see something new. But even like the Oregon match was really informative for us. I felt like it was an interesting experience where we went out there, we were halfway through singles. It was super hot and humid, and some guys were struggling from both teams physically. And then lightning, it wasn't raining, lightning stopped. So there's kind of some uncertainty. We weren't sure if we had the momentum, if they had the momentum, and then boom, we go inside. And how to handle that experience. And it's actually started raining at one point in the match yesterday. And I thought, gosh, we might get stopped. And, we've seen that before. It's just, to experience, we've experienced so many different facilities. I feel like we had an opportunity, to travel for kickoff weekend, that is something that we wish we didn't have to do, but it really served us well. And then to travel to play at a different facility, to qualify for national indoors, and then to go to national indoors. We've played on the road so much this year that we've had some different conditions where it's rained and we've been delayed and everything. And so I do feel like that's prepared us well for these situations. Whereas some of these other teams haven't had the opportunity to travel. They haven't played deep into tournaments where the pressure's a little bit higher.
Alex, on to you. There are a lot of fans, folks that listen to the show around Baylor tennis that might not understand what makes this group unique. Everybody knows they're good. Everybody knows they're elite. But why? Why are they elite from your perspective?
Well, it's certainly not coaching, right? I mean, you can find good coaching anywhere. It starts with Coach Woodson, Coach Vandermeer, George, obviously volunteer assistant George Goldhoff. Though, if you watch George Goldhoff, A, he's got youthful good looks, but B, you would think to yourself right away, is he playing in this match? Like, he may be the most frenetic person on court. He's constantly bouncing, constantly moving in. I'm not saying it's top down because it's everyone has that energy on the court from start to finish. Even Matthias yesterday, who clearly did not play his best tennis at number 2 singles, he was still engaged in the match. And just 1 through 6, I'm sure you've asked Coach Woodson, does anyone hit the ball harder than Adrian Boitan? When you've got that at 1, you're feeling pretty good. When you've got Spencer Death by 1,000 Paper Cuts Furman at number 6, who was playing 2 singles at Duke, you're obviously feeling pretty good about yourself. But it's just the depth. And again, college tennis, for those of you who don't know, it's a best of 7 format. Doubles point is 1 point, and then each of the 6 singles matches count for 1 point. What makes this Baylor team so good, if you don't mind me saying, and I have to be careful what I say now because it turns out coaches do listen to some of my stuff. I'm not going to say who it was. A guy by the name of Stanner Tump, we'll say, came up to me and said, I heard you picked Illinois. And I was like, you heard that? I was like, you weren't supposed to. But it's just this Baylor team, so many pathways to 4. As Coach mentioned, they've dropped, and maybe this was in his press conference, they've dropped doubles and won the match. They've won doubles and lost a match. They've, found it, whether it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. They just have the broadest pathways to 4. And Coach Woodson knows this. After UNC's been knocked out, I don't know a team that matches up that can steal 4 points off this Baylor Bears. They're that good.
Coach, for you, when you hear that, not just from a national analyst, but someone that knows tennis and follows a game of collegiate tennis, there's so much that has to play out on the court for that to take place. But having those national championship aspirations, knowing that it's going to be tough for somebody to take 4 from you, does it feel like this team, the path, when you look at the path, is right there on the cusp of making history?
This is our goal, the whole year. We said at the beginning of the year, and we've done everything that we can since to kind of live that out and to give these guys that experience. I think more than anything, we want them to have a great experience and to enjoy this process and enjoy the journey with each other. And, they've been able to make the sacrifices that they've needed to make in a very difficult year to be able to train and compete at this level, to be in this situation. And I think they all know what they're capable of. And it's just a matter of going out there and leaving it out there, competing as hard as they can, being, tough guys, tough outs at every single spot. And then we'll be able to live comfortably with the result. And I feel like if we can do that, it's going to be really, if somebody comes and takes 4 points against us, that's going to be a heck of an effort, and credit to them.
To Coach's point there, I absolutely agree. To beat the Baylor Bears, that you've earned it. You have absolutely, that means they have played outstanding tennis. And my question to you, Coach, you talk about ensuring all of these players having the best experience. And I feel like I have to be a little bit more aggressive here with my question since I'm on away turf. But my question to you would be, look, I was at that national indoor match and, respectfully, it did feel like your guys blinked in the doubles point, and you have that data point in the back of your mind. But, again, now moving forward in terms of ensuring the guys have their best experience, ensuring the guys play their best tennis match in, match out, what are you and the coaching staff doing to just, ensure everyone's calm but focused entering each match?
For sure. I think that experience was really a valuable one for us. It hurt a lot. More so just to see the guys get that close and feel like they didn't get over the line against Carolina, but we did. We blinked. I thought in the doubles. It took a few weeks after that to really feel like we clicked in the doubles. We've had so many pieces. I think everybody's talked about how good our doubles could be, and it took a while to really figure it out. And I'm excited now to know that, we have probably the best team on each court going into the match in doubles, and feel like we can win a doubles point, against anybody. And, are very confident in that regard. And so that's really good news for us. And, I think ultimately, we're just trying to keep them loose, make sure that the guys are present. You can spend so much time trying to make sure you're not feeling the pressure that you're not even here. You're physically here, but you're not mentally here. And I'm just trying to help these guys understand that this is an experience that they may never have again in their lives. And so let's make the most of it and enjoy it. You're not really going to remember a lot of the tennis that's played. It's going to be more of the experiences that they have goofing off at dinner or, hanging out at Drive Shack, whiffing balls and, everything that goes on in between. And I feel like if we kind of enjoy that stuff, then our best tennis is going to come out because they're just having fun.
Alex, you talked about the double point, and you got to see it firsthand on Monday against Ole Miss. I'm looking here, and I don't want to overlook Konstantin Franzen and Sven Law were up 5-2 on the number one doubles pair in the nation. This doubles performance from Baylor against Ole Miss was dominant. What did you see being there on the court?
Well, it's so interesting because I'll say it from the get-go. Shout out to you, Coach Woodson. You've got Connie Franzen on the Mike Woodson diet. He's 5 to 10 pounds lighter, sincerely, than I think he was earlier in his career. And you can just see that fluidity he's playing with, and just the confidence from top down. And I was talking to Coach Woodson earlier, and we've had conversations about Sven Law, who struggled at the beginning of the season, but he's hitting his stride. And that's the scariest thing for all of these other teams moving forward. This is weird to have a Baylor hat on. I feel like I am presenting this for just on a side note for all of you listening, but that was it. It's that Connie and Sven, what were they preseason, Coach? Like number 4, number 5?
It was like 11.
Yeah, but they're a top 10. They are a top 10 team. When they play their best, they can beat anyone. And they were number 1 in the nation, I believe, in a prior season. And so, look, the scariest part, again, for this Baylor team is they're going to hang with anyone at the top of the lineup, and then they're going to beat you at the bottom. And it's just, we play a game of match calculus over at Crack Rackets, whereas how do you find your 4 points? What's the addition there? Plus, I'm compensating. I'm not as good as math as I once was, so I'm trying to get it in as much as possible. And the scariest part, again, is like, all right, fine. You beat Adrian. Congratulations. Or, yesterday it was Finn Reynolds was just too good against Matthias. But it's whether it's 1 doubles, 2 doubles, 3 doubles, Finn Bass is coming off of the bench. And I will continue to say Garcia hits the ball. He's my, coach knows that's one of my pet projects, getting him in the lineup. But it's like the 7 through 12 of Baylor probably makes the round of 16 this year. And then to have Sven and Connie at 1 as well, it's just, it's just so many options. Finn and Charlie are playing great. Again, really poor coaching, but the players themselves are just carrying us through, right, Coach?
That's right. You hit the nail on the head.
Yeah.
Coach, looking forward, now being in the Elite Eight with this team, the program, you got TCU on the cusp, and coaches talk all the time about being in the off season, you're practicing against yourself, and you just want to be able to see somebody else in a different jersey. And at this point, it feels like TCU is just another practice team that you just get to go out there and play every other week. I mean, I think this is 7 or 8 times now that you've seen the Horned Frogs this season. Deja vu, but in Orlando.
I mean, honestly, this will be the 8th time that we've played TCU or Texas, but all of us are in the Elite Eight. I think it's just a credit to, how strong our conference is, first of all, and what quality tennis we have in the Big 12, as well as, all you have to do is say TCU, and our guys are going to bring the best that they've possibly got, and I think that's exactly what we need. I would say that it's going to make it a little bit easier for us to compete knowing that it's TCU and that we know them. Certainly they're going to bring their best tennis, and they're a very, very good team. They beat a very good Ohio State team handily yesterday. And so we know it's going to be, an absolute war, but I can't think of anybody we would rather play in the Elite Eight for an opportunity to make it to the Final Four. I mean, you say TCU and we're fired up.
Alex, on that note, you got a TCU team number 7 overall in the country that, like Coach Woodson said, Baylor has seen 12 times this season. I mean, you get a team so consistently that you've already lost to once. I mean, TCU's got the blood in the water considering they've beaten Baylor. How does that add to the dynamic of this match coming up in the Elite Eight?
Well, we've said it before on our show. I would argue the single most impressive win this season, and I say this lovingly, please don't hurt me when we see each other later, Coach, was TCU coming to Waco, dropping the doubles, and taking 4 singles wins, 3 through 6 on this Baylor team. To do that is as impressive of a win as we've seen all season long in the college tennis universe. Now, it's worth noting, Baylor has since, of course, knocked off the Horned Frogs, and they beat them in their most recent matchup in the Big 12. But if you have played tennis, if you play any sport, it's really easy to beat a team once. It's harder, but not the hardest thing in the world to beat a team twice. It's damn near impossible to beat a team 3 times in one season. It just really is. And so, again, for all of these, for this TCU team, for these Baylor teams, there's no secrets, right? You don't need to watch the film. You know what Famba, Gray, Jong, I guess maybe not Sander Jong, but all of these guys on TCU, how they play, what they want to do, they know the deal for the Baylor team as well. And I guess I'll bring this back to you, Coach Woodson, right? At this point, it's not a talk of tactics. It's a talk of making sure the guys are focused and able to execute to the best of their ability.
Yeah, I think at this point, it's really very little about the tennis. We know that on the day they could beat us or we could beat them. We know that we have a comparable level of ability, and we're confident that our best is going to get the job done against anybody. It's just a matter of being engaged and embracing that moment and that pressure and enjoying it. I think if we can be positive, more positive than we are negative, and show them great confidence and composure and stay together as a team, then we're going to have a really good chance to win. There are no secrets between us.
Mm-hmm. Did it surprise you to get 3 Big 12 teams into the quarterfinals, or did you know all season long you guys were all that good?
No, we could tell. I think that they've done a great job, getting their teams ready for this type of moment, and having to play in the Big 12 where there is no match off. That's just not the case in some other conferences, and it's not necessarily the fault of some of those teams. They're just in a conference where there are weak teams, and those matches are kind of wasted. We haven't played a wasted match in a long, long time, and that is really beneficial for us and for the other teams in the Big 12. We feel really good going into the NCAA tournament, coming up against anybody, because every match is just so physical. It's so feisty and gritty, and so when these tough moments come, like it came yesterday with TCU being down a player, or Texas coming down to the last match on, we're ready.
Alex, for you, there are a lot of listeners here in Central Texas that think we're talking algebra, calculus, something nuts. They're like, all right, tennis. They're really getting indoctrinated now into tennis with the success of Baylor as a program. But what I understand that I think a lot of people might not is the brand that Baylor tennis is in the country. I look across this bracket, you got Georgia, who Baylor could face moving forward in the next round of the tournament. USC is up in there, Texas as well. Where does Baylor sit when you hear that word, Baylor, in college tennis?
What an excellent question. Personally, I'm a former University of Michigan guy myself. Our current, I don't know if it's an associate or assistant coach, is Ben Becker, who obviously was a standout player at Baylor. And look, I was born in 1995, which you can probably tell given, the tone of my voice. But I would say 21st century college tennis. And I'm not going to refer to, pre-2000 because I promise you no one cares about that. But 21st century college tennis, you consider Baylor tennis up there with any other program. And I mean, just go down to Waco. And I think I have a restraining order there. They're not allowing me at the Hurd Tennis Center, but it's one of the 3 most beautiful tennis centers in the country. There's a reason the school was selected to host the NCAA tournament in 2014. It's not just 6 courts, it's 12 courts. It's an indoor facility. It's all of these different things they have available. There's a reason people want to put on, the B on their chest or the BU. I don't know what you guys say. I apologize. But, it also helps. You guys look sharp in that green. Like, I'm not going to lie, aesthetically, one of my favorite uniforms, just a little bit different than anyone else. But, to your question, and I'll flip this on you, Coach Woodson, because look, I don't doubt you on the recruiting trail whatsoever, but there are some outstanding coaches right now in college tennis. I would argue the coaching is as good as it has ever been. You just look at any school and they've got someone in the ranks. With the Hurd Tennis, and by the way, I need to give a huge shout out to Mark Hurd, because without him, there is no Baylor tennis on the map. He was the person who, with his resources, and of course the school took advantage of it. But, again, when you're on the trail, people know the Baylor name, right? They associate it very much with tennis. I think your question is asking me if I'm going to be able to keep it up, but I think I read through the lines there. It was, for the record.
Yeah, I have no doubt that, the brand that's been built here, the staff that we have in place, the players that are here are all bought in. And the athletic department, the administration, everybody's behind what we're doing and behind, the direction that we want to go as a program. And I think there are a lot of great coaches. There are a lot of great programs out there, that are great pathways to maximizing your tennis and giving you a great experience in college tennis. I think we do it a little bit differently. And I would say we stand confidently that we're going to be able to help these young men along their paths maybe a little bit better than other universities. And I don't think it's for everybody. I think, you have to love the game. You have to want to develop. You have to be focused, on and off the court on maximizing yourself day in and day out, and maybe not get so distracted by some of the, the other things that go on in a college setting. But we feel like we have a good recipe. These guys are living it out day in and day out, and they're enjoying themselves, and we're enjoying it, and the process of serving these young men. And so, it's never easy to keep up with, teams and schools that have so many resources and great facilities and highly paid coaches with long resumes. But, at the end of the day, I feel like we've got a good recipe here, and we're excited to continue, putting it together for many, many years to come.
Alex, I can tell you this. There are very few other places in the country whose radio shows follow tennis so closely, and it's because Baylor tennis has the sweet drip and the awesome stadium and the cool young spunky head coach. The aesthetic of Baylor tennis as a whole is just dope, as the kids would say.
I was going to say, what you're not going to hear when you step on a tennis court is the word drip. I can promise you that right now.
You will at Baylor, I guess. It's renovating. They're paving a way. Coach Woods, this is my last question for you, and then I'll pass it to Alex, give the knockout blow question. But for you being in Orlando, us in the media, fans, everybody can watch the matches and see you guys play. What's going on behind the scenes, though? I mean, it's these trips where really teams, that family bond, the culture of Baylor, where that forms. What's going on that we're not seeing that's making this a memory for you?
I mean, we spend a lot of time doing silly activities and just laughing together, spending time together, losing things together, trying to find them together. That's the best part. I mean, we wanted to win so bad yesterday just so we could spend 3 more days together. And I think that's a really cool thing about it. I mean, I was dealing a game of poker in the lobby the other night to 9 of my guys, and all the other teams are looking at like, what is that, the head coach? What's he doing? And I'm like, yeah, I mean, they needed a dealer, and they asked. So, it's fine. They weren't playing for any real money. They just wanted something to do, but it's just cool that they want to do it together, as a team. And they're just enjoying each other's company. And like I said, those are the memories that we're going to remember. I mean, I will never in my life forget Ryan Dickerson impersonating Charlie Broom in a game that we were playing. And I mean, it was the funniest thing I've ever seen in my life. And then everybody else reacting to it. Those are the moments that we'll remember. Nobody's going to remember that Charlie won 6-4 in the third against Ole Miss in the round of 16. They're going to remember Ryan walking around hunched over with his phone looking like Charlie. Those are the things that we're doing. I mean, I can't wait to get to Drive Shack so we can play St. Andrews here in a few hours. I mean, that's what it's all about.
Wow. Well, Coach, and before I pass off to Alex, you didn't lose a person, did you? I mean, you're talking about losing things.
No. Listen, all missing item inquiry should go through Coach Goldhoff.
And Alex, on to you, and then to Coach, your question for Coach Woodson. When you watch this Baylor team, outside perspective, how much joy? Do they play with joy? Can you see it on this team tangibly that they love what they do when they play?
A wise man once said, it's not the team with the most talent, it's the team that loves each other the most that ends up winning the tournament. And it's really corny. I fully admit that. I can see from the look on your face, Drake, that you agree. But it's true because all of these teams are talented. And in a no-ad format in tennis, which, again, I'm speaking in code right now. I just said something in Python. You're like, no ad, I don't get it. But yeah, in a no-ad format, there's going to be some ups and downs, and momentum swings are the name of the game in college tennis. And it's the team that sticks together when their backs are pressed against the wall, can withstand that 15, 20-minute push, much like Ole Miss made yesterday in the opening of singles, that ends up winning the match, that ends up coming through in the clutch moments. And I'm biased. I should say one of our co-hosts at Cracked Rackets is Nick Stakowiak's older brother, Matt. That's why I call him Nicky. You absolutely see the joy on the team's face. And I have to say, I'm pretty sure I have a bad source on this one, given your excitement. But Coach, the word on the street is that all of your drives are just banana fades. You're going far right, that it's not working for you, that you actually might be the worst golfer on the team. Is this true?
Me?
Yeah, that's what I hear. I knew it was a bad source. They said your drive is just, it's flying everywhere.
My drive is not strong, which is why I leave the driver in the bag. But I'm not even close to the worst one on the team. All right. I mean, let's get that clear. I'm probably somewhere in the top third to the middle third.
Yeah, I like that. So give me a name. Who is the best golfer? Who could use some more? Who's never making that Baylor men's golf team?
Izak is the best golfer for sure. I mean, he's close to a scratch golfer. He puts us all to shame. It's incredible to watch him. George swings the hardest at the ball for sure. But I would say, and we actually have some, like Spencer was all state in golf in high school. So, I mean, we've got some legitimate golfers on our team. But guys Sven plays lefty, Adrian, like 2 weeks ago, Sven and Adrian was the first time they've ever swung the club. So I would say somebody like them, Matthias, Alex Garcia struggles to make contact. There's probably a tie at the bottom with about 5 guys who, are just hoping to hit the ball.
Yeah, no, I would say put me on the putt-putt course and I can take you guys. But, oh, man, golf, yeah, not my strength, as you can imagine. But, no, I will say, if you allow me, Drake, it has been an absolute pleasure to watch your Bears compete. I do think they embody everything that college tennis is about. And, again, looking forward, no one comes to Orlando without national championship expectations, but you guys have been on the grounds now about a week and you've gotten your feel for everything in Orlando. What's it going to take over these next 5 days for you guys to get where you want to be and where you absolutely can end up, which is in the winner's circle?
I honestly think it's exactly what you said. I mean, it's feeling, that pressure. We're all going to feel that pressure when we get out there in the, the Elite Eight, and how well are we going to handle it? When it's not our day, are we going to be able to look to our left and look to our right and feel like, I can't do it for myself, so I'm going to do it for that guy. And if we're able to do that and fight for every single point, then I think we're going to have a really good chance, and that's all you can ask for.
Mm-hmm. Coach, I want to thank you for joining us as always. I know we do such frequent segments, but I don't get tired of them. Hopefully you don't either. And I want to thank you not only for coming on, but also having players and your assistant coaches that come on the show as well, because we're huge tennis fans. They call us crazy for we are a tennis radio show at this point. But I won't apologize for it. Alex, thanks to you as well for joining and giving perspective. But before we get you guys out of here, we got our Bear Games questions of the day that we ask all guests and callers. Coach, this one's actually tailored. You inspired this. Your team inspired this today. We're asking if you could take one Baylor sports program on a vacation with you. You're getting to go vacation with a bunch of guys. Which program you taking and where are you going?
I think I would go with the basketball team, just because I feel like it's some fun personalities on that team and the staff that I would love to spend time with. And honestly, I'm of Greek descent, and I have not yet been to Greece, so that would be where I would go.
Wow. Michael Woodson going to Orlando with the Baylor tennis team. Lock it in. What a great inspirational answer, Coach. I'm glad to know that you love your team enough to say that. It's a very selfless answer. Alex, what is yours? You got the chance to one-up him now by saying that.
I would take the Baylor women tennis team, who were clearly who were better than the men. I mean, they lost 4 times as well, I think, this season, or maybe it was 5 in the end. And I did want to give them a shout out at some point, because they lost 4-3 thriller to the Duke women's team, who are still alive in the quarterfinals. And I forgot to mention them when you talk about Baylor tennis. It's really not just the men. It is a full steam program. You have to give credit to the women as well. I probably go with both tennis teams. I mean, I'm a nerd. You put me with tennis players, I'm going to find a way to entertain myself for a week. So that would be my move. I may take Isaac. Sounds like I shouldn't take George, so I'll leave him behind. But no, I mean, ultimately, I do also want to thank you. You may not believe me, but college tennis needs a platform. Anyone who offers it, I will be listening to all of that content. And sincerely, whether it's the players, coaches, I always try to tune in whenever you interview any of them. So thank you for all you do for the sport as well. I do think, and my final question to you, Drake, it's pretty addicting, right? College tennis. When it's good, it's pretty darn good.
Alex, I'm going to expose myself here to you and Coach Woodson both, and all of our listeners. I had never been to a collegiate tennis match before January of this year, when Michael Woodson said, "Hey, come on out." He sent us a T-shirt and a tennis ball, and that was it. That got me hooked. And since then, I have been glued to every tennis match, glued to the Twitter feeds when there's not a live stream. I have become a tennis junkie, so I will agree with you. There is something addicting about it. And again, thank you to Coach Woodson for really helping all of us here at Uptempo fall in love with tennis. And Coach, congratulations on all you've done so far, but I'm going to retract that congratulations until this thing's all wrapped up and done, and hopefully give you a bigger one then. Thanks for coming on today, Coach Woodson. Pleasure having you.
Thank you both, guys. We appreciate the coverage.
Yeah, man. Alex, to you, it was a lot better than Coach Woodson told me it was going to be, so I don't regret bringing you on today.
Oh, I appreciate you having me again. Thank you, Coach, for putting up with my nonsense all year long. And sincerely, Drake, thanks for all you do. I've said before, Coach Woodson could sell sand in a desert, but certainly you guys help sell college tennis across the country as well. So thank you so much for all you do, Drake. And always a pleasure. Whenever you want me back, I'm here.
I love it. Let's do it again after they win a couple more of these. Well, I'm Drake Toll. That was Coach Michael Woodson and Alex Greskin. You can find him at Great Shot Pod, at Great Shot Pod on Twitter. Check that out. Shameless plug right there. When we come back, we're going to play Celebrity Birthdays, This Day in Sports History, and talk a little bit more Baylor sports. Don't go anywhere. This is Up Tempo.
Elite 8 looks good on you, Baylor men's tennis. Michael Woodson and his number 1 boys are moving on with a rather decisive 4-1 victory over number 14 Ole Miss in the Sweet 16 on Monday. The green and gold dominated the doubles point with a combined score of 17-6 on all courts when doubles play ended. Baylor then battled out 3 matches in the singles, with Charlie Broom securing the deciding point for his team. The Bears now have 32 wins this season, the most since a title run in 2005. Their next match will be against number 7 TCU in the Elite 8 this Thursday. Follow at Baylor Tennis on Twitter for more updates. And welcome home Jacob Gall. Baylor football landed a commitment from the Buffalo grad transfer offensive lineman, who stands at 6'2" and 305 pounds. He was a part of an offensive line unit that allowed 0 sacks last season and is rated by Pro Football Focus as the top left guard in the country. He will be immediately eligible with 2 years to play in Waco. On the golf course, the Baylor men's team saw its season end in Stillwater yesterday with a top 5 finish in the regional. The top 4 advanced to the NCAA championships. It came down to literally 1 stroke as Arkansas Little Rock shot a 15 over while Baylor landed at 16 over for the match. Little Rock's entire team birdied the 18th hole to capture the victory. Elsewhere in the country, Colgate football coach Dan Hunt is leaving to, quote, address personal issues following an unspecified violation of university policy not involving students. Hunt had been the head coach since 2014 and worked with the program since 1995. And lastly, the Indiana football team has added Jaron Handy from the transfer portal. Handy played in 14 games for Auburn in the last 2 seasons, while former Southern Cal running back Stephen Carr tweeted that he will also be joining Tom Allen's squad in Bloomington. I'm Jack McKenzie in for Armstrong Sims, and that's all the news that is news in college sports. This has been Jack's Minute on SicEm365 Radio's Up Tempo.
From the first workout to the last practice, sports is an incredible and rewarding challenge. Hi, this is Dan Ingham with the First National Bank of Central Texas, and we're proud to support each athlete, every parent, and our educators. From families, small businesses, to the biggest industry, we're here to help. With remarkable products like our free First mobile app, we've got banking ideas that fuel big dreams. That's the First National Bank of Central Texas. Familiar faces making local decisions.
Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Did you know that 1 out of every 4 men have symptomatic low levels of testosterone and don't even know it? And if you think you're too young to worry about it, guess again. Low T levels can make you feel tired and grumpy, cause weight gain, and wreak havoc on your sexual desire and performance. Petty Clinic Low T can set up same-day blood screening and results, so if you're tired of being tired, I challenge you to man up and Google search Low T Waco or go online pettycliniclowt.com. It's a private clinic with an atmosphere catering to men. Affordable, only $150 a month, includes lab work, office consultation, testosterone injections, follow-up visits compared to $395 a month in Dallas or Austin, and you don't have to fight the traffic. Petty Clinic Low T is board-certified physician consultations, will provide the best form of brand-strength testosterone available. Contact Petty Clinic Low T today, just off Highway 84 and Old Hewitt Drive in Woodway. Petty Clinic Low T, helping men become the high-performance men they deserve to be. PettyClinicLowT.com or Google search Low T Waco.
It takes time to reach goals. It's a truth that applies to more than sports. It goes for your financial goals as well. You work hard for your money, and you deserve an investment strategy that lines up with your game plan. And Tom Albers, your Edward Jones financial advisor, can help. If your financial investments aren't putting forth the effort you desire, stop by today for a financial review. Tom Albers, 4301 Lakeshore Drive, 254-776-7605. Edward Jones, member SIPC.
At Ideal MRI, we feel blessed to be a part of the Waco community. We're a small family business right here in Central Texas, and our goal is to bring down the cost of healthcare while maintaining high quality. At times like this, the cost of healthcare has never been more important, and unfortunately, significant illnesses and injuries still occur. That's why Ideal MRI is open and here to serve you through the difficult time. We offer premium MRIs just like a hospital with state-of-the-art technology and specialists, but you'll pay less. sometimes thousands of dollars less, whether you're using insurance or not. At Ideal MRI, we accept most insurance and there are no hidden costs, even offering financing if that's needed. Everything included in the price, and you'll not get something as a surprise in the mail later on. If you need an MRI, ask your doctor about Ideal MRI. They'll know. You can schedule an appointment safely from home online in minutes at idealmri.com or give us a call, 833-IDEAL-MRI, idealmri.com.
Pay overqualified buyer with 4,000 down at 2.9% TTNL extra. See deal for details.
Travel is back, and so are the savings at the Memorial Day Savings Event at Richard Carr. Hit the road in a 2016 Buick Encore for only $152 a month, a 2016 GMC Sierra for only $318 a month, a 2018 Mercedes GLA for $334 a month, or a 2015 GMC Terrain for only $135 a month. 100% credit approval is always our goal. It's a Memorial Day Savings Event going on now at Richard Carr.
At Richard Carr, we give you more.
Welcome back to Up Tempo on SicEm365 Radio.
What you just said is one of the most insanely idiotic things I have ever heard. Everyone in this room is now dumber for having listened to it. I award you no points, and may God have mercy on your soul.
Now back to the Bears Den with Drake Toll for a Baylor take on your lunch break.
All right, welcome back into the Petty Clinic Low T Bears Den remote. Drake Toll joined by Jack McKenzie and Andrew Robertson today. You boys got some soccer and baseball going on in the background?
We do. These are the two events that are currently available to watch. So we figured might as well.
A-Rob wanted the Sox and the Twins. I wanted the English League One promotion playoffs between Lincoln City and Sunderland.
It's not that I wanted MLB. It's that I wanted something other than that.
Okay, so you just didn't want to watch soccer, so you had to put something else out there that was sports.
Exactly.
Yeah, he doesn't like the beautiful game.
Wow, it's lack of affinity. But, okay, great interview we got to do today. Really good stuff. Getting to talk to Alex Gruskin and Coach Michael Woodson. Those guys competing in the quarterfinals, NCAA quarterfinals, Elite Eight. That's coming up tomorrow for Baylor men's tennis. I believe it's at 1 o'clock. I don't remember exactly. I'd have to look that up, but I believe it's at 1 o'clock tomorrow. Should be broadcast live as well. They win that. They move on to Friday's Final Four. So it goes 3 days succession, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Saturday being the national championship meet. And Baylor's got a legit shot. Alex Gruskin has seen every team in the country. And he said that now that North Carolina's out, there's nobody else who can go 4 points on Baylor. Who else can put up 4 on Baylor? So the Bears got a legit shot to win a national title. Bring another one back home to Waco. Outside of that, Jacob Gall. Come on, you guys. The big offensive lineman out of Buffalo. Transfer, going to anchor the offensive line alongside Grant Miller this year. Elite Eight in tennis, Jacob Gall. You know, the men's golf team ended yesterday. Men's golf season ended yesterday. It's really just tough in Stillwater. I mean, if another team's going to birdie every shot they take on the 18th hole, they deserve to win. But sad not seeing your Bears in the national championship competition for men's golf. The women will be there, though. They'll compete in the national title for golf, and we'll be talking to some of their athletes hopefully coming up. Outside of that, you know, we talked about it a little bit. We kind of skipped over it, but women's basketball, Baylor women's basketball, hiring yet another assistant to join Nikki Collin and her staff. So it's not going to be an on-the-court X's and O's role, but Michael Mata, the assistant athletic director for operations, coming to Baylor, being a part of the program here. So Michael Mata, welcome to Waco. And, you know, hopefully we got to get a segment going here soon where we give people restaurant ideas in Waco and just kind of the local, give them the feedback, how to survive the roundabout at LaSalle. We got to give them a little tutorial, maybe
that'd be a good idea.
Yeah, just give him a shout out on how to make things happen and make it go in Waco. He's from Dartmouth. He is from Dartmouth. So welcome to the program, Michael Mata. We know you'll love it in Waco. It's okay on some days. That's probably the best compliment that I can give the city of Waco. But Baylor itself is great. Baylor is great. And I'm loving Waco more and more every day. That's why I'm in Bologna right now. Snuck out just for a little bit.
Hey, Waco's getting better and better.
Yeah, Waco's finding a way. But good show today. Tomorrow we'll come back and we'll have Steve Rodriguez join the show, Morgan Uber, and there are a few other folks that'll be joining on as well. We'll get J.D. PicKell, the Blonde Boys Power Hour at 1 o'clock. Open it up to your calls. That'll be the top hour of the show tomorrow, followed by Steve Rodriguez joining the show. Trying to get in with a Baylor softball player because, they've got the big series in Gainesville this weekend. Baseball starts against Oklahoma tomorrow night. It's big. I mean, it's just still big weekend in Baylor sports coming up, and Baylor sports have not slowed down, although it seems like it. There's still plenty of stuff going on. All right, boys, we got a bunch of birthdays going on today. Celebrity birthdays. First one here being JoJo Siwa. Anybody got a guess on JoJo Siwa?
I'm going to go 18. 17.
Oh,
17.
bing.
No, 18.
I'm stick with your original. Yeah, it's 18. It's JoJo Siwa is 18 today. Congratulations, JoJo, on your 18th birthday. Marshmello, the DJ Marshmello, the guy with the marshmallow head.
Yeah.
Yeah.
29.
Bing.
Really?
Wow. 29. Yeah, he's 29. That's so. You guys are kicking butt so far. Sam Smith, the pop singer, Sam Smith.
33.
I'm going to go with 30.
And I know I'm not the only one. He is 29 today. I thought he was older than that. So 29.
You said 33 and I said 30.
Shoot.
Yep. Him and Marshmello born on the same day. This is a weird world we live in. How about Malcolm X, religious leader? I'm surprised that he's a religious leader.
I mean, what else would you call him?
Like activists, political activists.
92.
92? Nope, he's dead.
Oh. All right. Well, how old would he have been?
Yeah, how old would he be? 92 was a good guess. Jack?
89.
96 today. Malcolm X. Yeah. Happy birthday. Andre the Giant. He was a big guy, and his name was Andre. He is dead.
Yeah, rest in peace. He died kind of young, I remember. But how old would he be today?
Yeah.
68?
74.
75. 75. Andre the Giant.
Hey, Rob,
nice job. Doing a little Russ elimination there. How about Kevin Garnett's birthday is today? He is, let's see his profile. Kevin Garnett is the guy that starred in Uncut Gems. That's what he's known for.
What?
41.
He's a Hall of Famer, Celtics champion. Anyway. I think he's like 43. Oh, we lost him.
Greg, do we have you?
Okay, well, I think Kevin Garnett's 43. I'm waiting for someone to tell me I'm incorrect.
You might want to look that up because I think we lost Drake.
Spectacular.
Hello?
Oh, hey, Drake.
Hey.
Yeah.
Hey, he's 45. He's 45 today.
Pretty close.
Let's see, a couple other here. Mustafa Kemal Atatürk.
Oh, of course, Mustafa.
150.
Yeah.
Okay, not bad.
133.
Yeah, 140. Big 140 for Mustafa Kemal Atatürk. And Michael Shea from SNL. Michael Shea.
I'm going to go with 35.
Okay.
38.
Bing. He is 38 years old today, Mike.
Nice,
hey, yeah, that was nicely done. Nicely done. This day in sports history, Tom Jenkins beats Frank Gotcha for a heavyweight wrestling championship. I remember where I was standing when this happened.
Oh, really? All right. Context clues. I'm gonna go 2014.
1922.
Okay. It is 1905.
Right. All right. Yeah.
Okay. AL President Ban Johnson tells Tigers if they continue protests of Ty Cobb's suspension, they'll be banned from baseball.
Huh. Ty Cobb's old. I know that. I'm going to say 1947.
1904.
Same year the Titanic sunk, 1912.
That's tough. I was way off.
In this year, the NFL adopts an annual college draft.
Ooh, first draft?
Oh, man.
Been around forever.
63?
Okay.
No. That's wrong. That's got to be wrong.
I don't know. I'm going to go 70. 1970.
It is 35. That's way earlier than I thought it would be. Way earlier than I thought it would be. Yeah, last couple of ones here. Decorated Dutch coach Louis van Gaal confirmed as manager of Manchester United. Brian Giggs named assistant. Confirms retirement as a player at age 40 after 963 games and English record 22 major trophies.
2014?
2014. Nicely done. Nicely done.
Soccer.
PGA Championship men's golf, Bethpage State Park. Defending champion Brooks Koepka leads wire-to-wire wins despite 5 bogeys on last 8 holes.
What was the tournament? Sorry?
The Bethpage State Park
golf
championship, PGA Championship.
I don't know. Brooks was his best 2017, so I'm going to go 2017.
18.
It's either 18 or 17.
2019 for Brooks.
Wasn't either.
Sprinter Dute Chand comes out as India's first openly gay professional athlete.
2015.
2019. Oh, you know what time it is.
Later,
Gosh
guys.
dang it. All right. Hey, great show today, you guys. Had the Flying CMU State panel. And then all the way to Coach Michael Woodson and Alex Preskin. We come back tomorrow. Steve Rodriguez joins the show. That's going to be a hoot and a half. You don't want to miss it. Morgan Hooper is with us as well. I'm Drake Toll, Jack McKenzie, Andrew Robinson. We come back. It'll be 11 a.m. Don't go anywhere. This has been Upcoming.